tweeted.
We should probably turn that volume down just a little.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Please let us know if you can see us, hear us.
On the right settings. Hopefully that does not mess up the timing. Oh, yeah. We can be seen.
Hello. So, this week we are continuing to stream The Prince of Persia from 2008. We played a bit of this last time, and I think people seem to like it.
Yeah, no, it's good. Like there's there's always little things.
It's definitely an Ubisoft game, but I really like the structure of it despite that.
It's really odd, which I mean I would not consider playing it if it weren't, because like the only things that are the only part that's interesting about it is the experimentalness, but it's really odd. It feels like a kind of a feels like a kind of an experiment that they didn't necessarily mean to release. So
let's get into it.
Let's get going. Twitter, you can hear our voices, right? Not Twitter, Twitch. Chat, whatever. Sorry, we just
Hi,
ate...
Sandra.
Hi, Sandra. We just ate a really incredible amount of paneer, so I'm actually slightly food coming right now. This one?
Whatever is the more recent one.
Okay. Ruined Citadel. So, did anyone not see last week? Basic upshot. Whoa, that's kind of cool. Basic upshot is we just released Satan and his 4 asshole generals. We have a... Where's the map?
We have a princess, but no prince.
Yeah, what?
Select.
Yeah, here we go. So we're in this really odd sort of like... It's like kind of we have a free roaming world map, but only on like these very strict corridors. There's like each of these little circles is just sort of an area, and each area like connects to a corridor that goes to some other area.
Let's just show it.
Yeah.
It's basically like it's a Metroidvania, but with a very strict structure to the.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't
interconnectedness.
feel very Metroidvania to me, even though it does like have like a lot of exploration based on mobility powers. It feels like a sort of alternate take on that.
So, yeah. It may take me a moment to remember the
We're
mechanics.
probably all gonna have to remember how the controls work.
So each of these orbs has sort of like a challenge and then a boss fight in it. And once you've cleared it, the area sort of opens up, the walls go away, and you're meant to be running around collecting these glowing orbs.
It goes from purple to color.
Is this... Have we gone on this one yet?
I think that's how we got here, maybe? I'm not sure. No harm in going on it,
Yeah, we got yellow.
Yeah. Right. So there are 4 mobility powers, and we have the...
You jump on a yellow pad and...
Yeah, we have the least interesting one.
And
we have the
zoom
one
around.
that puts you in a little... Okay. So let's see if I
I mean,
can
there are
remember
also
how
parkour
this
abilities that
works.
have nothing to do with.
Nope, not that. No, not that either.
Yeah, your double jump is literally the princess grabbing and throwing you.
Yeah. 'Cause oh, there's a blue. Try to remember. There's a blue thing here. Oh, that maybe opens this door to another area.
Any more out there?
So remember, B when you see a ring.
Yeah. I didn't quite get... Okay, so you don't need to... You can just run it and jump to do a wall run. You don't have to press anything for that.
Yep.
All right, and then...
Happens on its own.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go. See, I feel like that's when it starts to get satisfying, is when you have to do a bunch in a row.
Yeah.
How do you talk to... Oh, no.
How will you persuade people to return?
They will come. For 1,000 years, we've guarded a legend. Now people will know the danger is real. The good people, the people with duty, they will return.
So in general, you have one hand button, one foot button, one girl button, one sword button, and one talk to girl button, which is different from the girl button.
Think of it as forward planning. Want to play the game again for forfeits?
No.
No.
Yes.
You know, I'm starting to see why you love it here. This is a better look for the place. You can actually breathe here. Nothing trying to kill us. Grass under my feet. Quiet. What can you hear? Huh. Nothing. It's great, isn't it?
This place would be better if there were like ground.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Nice.
They do a thing whenever you're about to die where it turns. Okay.
Use your gauntlet.
Okay.
Remember, you need to throw them in the air.
I need to what?
You need to throw them in the air with B.
Okay. Yeah, that's what she said.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you can like keep going after that.
Yeah. I guess that was a combo of.
Trap now.
I guess that was a combo of gauntlet, then girl, then sword.
Yep. Ledge kills are honestly really hard not to do. I've been
Can we go for
finding.
this? Maybe you only coming from the other direction. So our goal right now,
Have
I
we
guess.
actually seen a kill that didn't involve either a ledge or a wall?
Yeah, but barely.
I think that was a kill, wasn't it? Whoops.
No, it was against a wall. Or a ledge,
That's not-
sorry.
Yeah, that's
You gotta run a
armed.
long
No, I got it. I hit the wrong button. All right.
I'll be fine.
Not that I asked or anything. No.
Not sure about the physics of that, but it looks good.
It looks good and it's fun.
If you like threw yourself up with a sufficient amount of, I didn't do anything. I'm completely unhelpful. Can I get down there? Probably not. That looks.
If you're ever asking, can I get down there, the answer is probably no.
Uh,
You can slide down. If there's a wall, you can slide down it.
oh, there's a wall. One of the nice things about this game is that, I guess what we're looking for right now is orbs.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you just left the area, so...
No.
But if you're moving on to another one, that's also fine.
Only if it's one that we can complete.
But that one you can, so just keep going.
Which one we can? This one?
No, then you've already been there.
Oh, okay.
That's the
So
next
just-
one in the past, so just keep going in the direction that you were going.
Okay.
And we'll
So
eventually
that's
wind up there.
this way, right?
There is like a... Remember, you can also press the button to give you the waypoint.
Oh, that's right. Let's set a waypoint.
You already have one.
Oh. All right. So the glowing. These are ones we've completed. These are ones we've not.
Correct. That's
Okay.
no, that's specifically your waypoint.
Oh, okay. We were already headed that way.
Keen456 is asking how the pixel art workshop went, which I ran a pixel art, how to intro to pixel art workshop yesterday with the Toronto Animated Image Society. It went really well. I was not sure if I'd got the timing right for the amount of like lecture time and time for people to work on stuff, and it turned out pretty much exactly like I hoped.
You did a lot for that.
Yeah, there's literally made a small game that people could put their own characters into.
Also, like, I saw your slides. They were, like, pretty, You went to a lot of detail.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of original art in the slides and such. No, it was really good. I think, like, I ran it, so biased.
I'm not clear how to tell whether when I. I think that was a normal kill, not a wall kill.
No, that was definitely a railing kill.
I can't see Armin wanting to build windmills.
It would have taken you way
They
longer.
were here before him.
I think they want it to be about that. They happen so easily.
After Ahriman was defeated.
Yeah, I don't know.
They've fed the new city here ever since.
I don't think they feel like I don't think their frequency feels very good. Like I get that's supposed to be like momentum based, like, but
Bit of a problem with this game is that like because like it sort of like reads your. Are we there?
you're there.
We're there. Oh, and there's a yellow thing.
Yeah.
I was really excited about this. Oh, you can just press a button to chat with this girl anytime, and then I discovered that all of her dialogue is really boring.
This is the Martyr's Tower. He used to bring prisoners here for sport.
I feel like it's been getting better,
About to jump over to play.
mostly.
Nice tower. I'd say it was from the ominous and forbidding school of architecture.
The fertile ground is
At the top of the tower. Well, they wouldn't put it on the ground floor, would they?
What tower? All right, I guess I'll just ignore everything happening and.
You want to go on the ground when you can go up.
Oh. Yeah, these flying segments actually suck because they're like, just sit there and do nothing for many seconds, except very, very briefly. Eventually, we're going to put you in a situation where you very, very quickly have to press one button, but it's not well visually signaled what.
Yeah, with the amount of camera moves that are going on, it's not clear when
Yeah.
you need to move the characters out of the way.
You
Oh,
think
come
that like
on.
that circle is you're always guiding these? It's just like you're on rails. You're just trying to dodge obstacles.
Yeah, you're guarding your position.
But it's not really clear what the obstacles are.
You're indicating you control your position within the screen, and if you let go, you go back. I guess. Do you always end on a yellow pad?
No, not always.
Are you sure? I really thought that it had always ended on a pad.
Because like when I got there, I'm like, oh, I'm landing here.
I think it often does. But
A
I don't
moment
know
ago,
if it
I
always
like wasn't
does.
sure if I was supposed to dodge something, so I hit a button and I just rammed into a wall.
Get ready!
I wonder if instead of like hitting the button again there, I could have just stopped there and like spiraled down the wall. What button is the like wall fall?
Will be.
There's a green here and there was a red in the other one. Oh, great. Yeah, this guy again.
Trap?
Yes, he's a hunter, remember? I think we can get down that wall there.
You think you got us? You think it's that easy? We're coming back for you. If we can find a way out.
Okay, what's the button to go down the
B.
B? That makes sense because it's arm. No, it's one of the. It's not B actually.
That's one of the triggers, I think.
I think it is. I just don't remember
Oh.
which one. I think if I can just hit it here. No?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so it's right trigger.
Oh, okay.
It's not a very interesting mobility power. Whoa. This room's kind of interesting.
It's very different than what we've seen in
Yeah.
terms of
Can we hang on to that?
geometry.
Okay. I guess oh, I get it.
Yeah. Now, they basically telegraph the paths you
Yep.
need to take.
People have been wall running along these walls for generations.
Yeah. Oh, I see what we're supposed to do. No, other way.
It's interesting. I thought when the weird like shadow insects showed up at first, that they were just going to be like a gimmick for that
Yeah.
area and that boss, but they're just a permanent thing now.
Yeah.
That whenever you're running, you've got to keep your momentum going.
Not always, only in some areas.
Yeah,
But
but
they
like
definitely seem to be showing up a lot more.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the boss powers, it's like once it's introduced for
Yeah.
one boss or one area, they feel free to throw it in whenever they think it would work.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's going to be one of those for each of the 4 segments. Like, we're going to wind up with, like, another
Well, we
boss
got it,
power
yeah.
attached next time, and then...
But also a new thing that to deal
Yeah.
with.
I don't know. I like the idea of, like... Oh, okay. So we did actually lose a significant amount of time there.
I mean,
My pleasure.
it's never a ton, but it's not nothing.
A lot of the time you lose only as much as, like, a single...
I mean, the further you get, the longer the segments are, and that's sort of a natural effect of that is you can't save between them. So I could be wrong, but I don't think you need a momentum on those things ever.
Which things?
The poles that you're swinging off.
No, you don't. I'm just...
Like
I'm
I think
doing-
you're treating them like it's a Mario game. And
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not.
doing the video game thing of swing back and forth,
Yeah.
and that's the opposite of what it wants you to do.
I'm really glad they took that out because honestly, I feel like it's like never particularly interesting. It's just something that slows you down. Whereas like their priority was keep it going.
Yeah, it's about getting sort of a flow through the area. He's glowing blue, so you need to hit him, I think, with the sword.
Yep. That's the blue button.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, of course. Did this ever come out on the PlayStation? Because how did they handle...
I really don't know.
Since there's so much color coding.
Yeah.
Yes, it came out on the PlayStation 3.
Huh.
Maybe they just changed the colors to the colors of those buttons.
The colors are not as strong on the PlayStation.
Yeah. Like they're not high saturation colors.
Maybe they just added a particle effect of little squares floating around him.
And I feel like I need to watch some PlayStation footage just
Yep.
to see, like...
I'm
Yeah.
really curious.
I'm really having trouble with this whole idea of like color-based QTEs. Like that is not something I've ever had to do in a video game before. Oh crap! What's block?
Can you fight?
Till my last
I think it's RT.
I got that. It's a,
Or sorry, B.
man, this is rough.
Stay back.
It wouldn't be so bad if the. Oh, I see what it wants me to do.
So whenever that happens, that's actually
That's
a dash.
that's you messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, so it wants me to.
There's a
A
red flash on
problem
the
with
button when
this?
you press the wrong button.
A problem with this is that there's like the standard stuff that applies in every fight. Like the whole like when he turns black, that means that you're supposed to use the gauntlet. But
So immediately after you block, hit a button when you
yeah,
follow
well,
up.
this particular fight has like specific things it's like coding you to do. For example, like your sword gleams, and that means it wants you to press the sword button.
Like when you successfully block a move, you can instantly press
Yeah.
the button to keep going.
So this one, it's wanting me to do like little it's wanting me to do a pattern. Yellow? That wasn't right.
No. He only
Plus,
has two. He only has two forms.
His hand glowed yellow.
The
Jake
hand
did?
doesn't glow. Glow doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
No, well that's annoying.
It's just the blue form. The blue form needs to be hit with a sword, and this isn't out of nowhere. Like we fought him a couple times, and every time like they've introduced these mechanics.
That might be another thing coming back to the problem of
Trading back and forth.
we're trading back and forth, and there's like a lot of like contextual stuff they teach you.
So when like you hit him with the sword a few times, and then you end like too far away to hit again, you can then use the team up attack or the athletic attack.
A problem that I am having is like when,
So like that's a good.
yeah,
Well, now he's blue, so it doesn't matter. But
a problem I've been having a little bit. Oh, that worked.
like these combos can go on for a long time.
Yeah. So I'm having trouble with he's like changed state. Do I wait? Oh, I've got it.
Oh,
You say they can go on for a
the
long time.
glow is based on his form. When he's sword only, the sword glows, and when he's gauntlet only, the gauntlet glows.
Yeah.
Form meaning how he's standing?
I mean, it's really obvious. He glows blue when you want to hit him with the sword, and he's covered in black when you want to hit him with the gauntlet.
The hunter glows blue, not Jake.
Yeah.
But it also does do. There is actually a glow.
Yeah, there's accelerator signaling.
On the character where there's a blue glow when you have to hit him with the blue. And it's a sword specifically glowing blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that they put the glow
the
on
hunter?
both the enemy and you for both of the states.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but sometimes you have glows that don't mean anything at all.
No, they actually do, is what we've realized.
Okay, but
Yeah,
then
we
what
were
does it mean
mistaken.
what does it mean when your left hand is glowing yellow?
That,
That's
that
her
means
color.
that,
Gauntlet.
yeah, that means that you have to do a throw to get him out of the has a big wall of black behind him state.
Okay, well
I think it's technically glowing orange. But their color for glow stuff doesn't, because it's additive blending, it's going to go towards looking yellow.
I get it. I think that's annoying because yellow is actually a color in their.
Yeah.
Have we haven't wait,
I mean,
hold on.
I think the blue saturation on him to indicate that he's in a state where that you have to hit with the sword, like, would be fine even if it wasn't meaningful color-wise. Like the black one that you had to hit with the gauntlet, like,
Yeah.
it's fine that that doesn't correspond with the gauntlet color.
Yeah, we're talking though about the glows on
Right,
the
but I just
the
mean, like, I don't
weapons.
think these necessarily
The
need to
problem
be
is there's
meaningful
like
colors.
well I think it does because there are like several different states that things could be in at any one time. What do I do from here?
I think the problem is that they've chosen to do that in some places, and
Yeah.
therefore now whenever they do one of the colors that maps to a button, it subconsciously has a secondary meaning, and you're not sure which it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
also
fair.
like color is just some of their things are like no, that's not right. Okay, hold on. So how do you get there?
Not like that.
No, not like that.
Something I really like about this game is that the movement is so discreet and like so built around like very very specific angles and very specific like angles of approach. If you see something like that, you instantly go, I can't do that.
Yeah, that's good.
There was the one bit where I didn't try doing a jump though because it seemed like it fell into that. Just when you have all this mobility, but because of that angle limit, and then because of the
Yeah.
weird goo, they're actually able to make you have to like think things
That's
through
not right.
in a tight space. You almost had it there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what.
You you were trying to jump too far using the double jump. You had to jump onto the first surface and then.
Oh, wait, really? Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. Let's try that again. All right, jump onto.
Oh yeah, you're
Oh, I
right.
see.
that's a plank that you don't have an angle on without the
Oh,
goo.
that's interesting. Okay, so jump,
Yeah,
jump again.
overthinking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We have powered the plate. I guess.
I wonder if like the little like
Oh wow, this is interesting. So we're using a power plate just to navigate within a room.
Yeah. Oh. Bad angle.
yeah.
Oh man, that's a long one.
Oh.
No, okay. It's once you know what to do, it's not so bad because you're just doing something you've done before. Like I think this is an example of it working. Not that. Anyway, what's bothering me is that like they have so many things they need to communicate that sometimes things start getting a little bit overloaded, and then things you start like second guessing things that are just like scenery. Like a thing that's really bothering me is that like
I wonder if there's like a little circle that's formed by like the speed lines.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the area that you have to dodge within. Like if anything enters that, you have to dodge it.
I think that's probably correct, but also
I still don't like it.
We might skip being the hunter's trophies after all.
Let's heal this ground.
And again!
And by let us, you mean let her, right?
I do not like.
You really don't
You
have
don't
to
need
mash
push
it that. Yeah.
This bit doesn't require. Some of the other stuff does require a really fast push.
It's not
Not that fast though. Nothing requires that fast.
Okay, so my vote is that like since coming out of an area a little bit duplicates coming in, I vote we hand off every time that we clear one of these. Anyone else want to try?
It was nice.
Sure.
It wasn't for a dark god going to kill us. There! Didn't like that, did you? What?
This land is healed. We must go on.
I'm dying, Squirtle.
But why have you gone prickly on me?
You enjoyed that.
Teaching that thing a lesson? Taking some revenge for the people it killed? Yes, I enjoyed that. And you enjoyed that side of things too. Don't worry, Princess. You're still more than good enough for both of us.
Wow. And with you as a measuring stick, that really makes me a saint.
Hey, I've helped old ladies home from the market.
If they had attractive daughters.
Yeah, then I helped them too.
Anyway, the thing I was trying to express is when you're fighting the dudes, you have to use your gauntlet sign is they're covered in black goop, but even when they're not covered in black goop, they're slightly trailing black goop. So you have to identify the difference between slightly trailing black goop.
I feel like it's pretty different though, because that's just a ground effect.
Yeah, and
It's like
the
a
gauntlet
huge
one has like a
wave.
wall behind
You
it.
should talk to her more.
Oh, yeah. What's
RT, I think. Or RB.
How much longer we have? Oh, sorry. Forgot you were there. Corruption, corruption, corruption. You know, Armin's not really into variety, is he? Where to now? Empty stones, empty lands.
I think that
Okay,
means
yeah, there's probably.
they have an icon in the corner if she has something to say.
what is the get her to? Oh, need to choose new destination.
So right now we've gotten everything we can get. So what you want to do is you want to collect
Orbs.
orbs.
Got it.
I think just like explore this area and get.
Yeah, if you just get the 35 that are in this area, you're probably good.
Yeah.
And all that requires is just be careful you don't accidentally leave the area, because it's really easy to leave by accident.
So I was paying attention to Parrish slowly maneuvering things. I want to get orb, right?
Yeah, my suggestion is climb around the area. You probably want to start with the yellow plate over there. That'll probably take you somewhere.
Also, there's an orb on it.
There is an orb on it.
Okay, let go of my hand. You can fall, princess.
My suggestion is just stay in this area until you've got another 35. But be careful that if you realize that you've left the area.
So yellow.
Yeah, no, I know. I hit yellow, but I was at an angle there.
You want to like
You're
climb
gonna
up
like
to
clink,
it.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
pause when you hit it.
Yeah, no, I know.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to listen to what you were saying rather
Reasonable.
than just immediately doing stuff.
Reasonable.
Look, if
there's
you're
some-
hollering orb every time you see an orb in this game, you're gonna like wear out your voice. There's a lot of orbs.
Orb X 170.
Ah, if it was-
Oh, that's interesting.
I do like that they communicate like. Hey Andy, how do you feel about the orbs in this? Because I know that you didn't like the micro challenges in Super Mario Odyssey at all. Like to the point where like you got really mad about them.
Yeah. All right. So I feel like Odyssey just has really sloppy design. And part of that is that like there's no weight discrimination. These orbs are kind of more like the blue coins in Mario Sunshine. So Mario Sunshine, you had the big goals, which were the shines, and then you had the blue coins, which were the minor goals. And the blue coins were usually like either aligned to a secret, like a really small secret, or they were
Yeah, you don't need to do
Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking through what I've got to do in terms of. Sometimes I am just thinking about what buttons I'm going to need to push.
yeah.
that. That's fair.
Girl wants to talk to you.
Oh, whoops. I'll
That's
do it
cool.
next bit. Okay, so it's B.
Anyway, as far as the collect 1,000 doodads go, this is pretty good.
Are you okay?
I'll be
One thing that's a little odd to me is that there's kind of like a mixture in this of like they just drop orbs along the path, which is good in part because it's sort of like indicating here's somewhere you've never been before. But there's like a handful of orbs that are just here's an orb that's a single orb that's a puzzle, you know?
Oh, something funny happening to the
Yeah.
lighting on that. It's like tweak. Boom.
Whoa. Yeah, that's not right.
Doesn't do it on that side. Wonder what causes that.
Huh. Man, 3D seems hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that kind of annoyed me about Odyssey is that like there's only one weight to anything. Like there's just moon. So you get a moon either for like completing like a 20-minute challenge or for looking behind a pole you didn't look behind before or solving a really complicated puzzle.
I'm getting bad muscle memory.
So first off, I don't think you're supposed to be coming that way to start.
I
but
mean, you can do it from that angle.
it's easier.
No, my problem is I'm literally just hitting the wrong button a bunch.
Yeah.
Um,
I started having an easier time when I started training myself to avoid pressing the gauntlet button, except when I had to.
except here I have to, and that's what
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with.
Yeah.
And then here I need to. No, that was just messing me up.
Use your gauntlet.
What's block?
L2, I think. Left trigger or whatever. No, right trigger. Sorry, right trigger. Don't weaken
Is it
Miguel.
not button?
Sorry, just give me a second here. Oh, the button also works. A bit awkward.
I think it is just the button.
It's either.
Oh, huh.
Use your gauntlet.
Those red flashes are indicating that Miguel's been hitting the wrong button.
Not great since red is also one of the buttons.
Yeah.
And also, there are red particles for no reason.
Not.
I think okay, I just have to be doing a lot. I'm trying to do it like exactly as it hits, and really I need to lean much heavier on those. Okay. Sorry, just getting to grips with the controls.
Like, I feel like that kill wasn't, like... It wasn't earned, right? Like...
I think that's what they want it to be. I think it is like get them to the edge, because that's...
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely get them to the edge. There's no question that that is a victory condition, but, like...
But I think that's what they wanted. I think they wanted most kills to work that way. I think it's completely intentional.
Hey, what
It
happens
feels
if you run
bad.
up the
I don't like it.
What happens if you run up the opposite wall and then
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Sarah jump over there?
Oh, they've made it a little bit harder than that.
Okay.
Should be able to, though. Oh, no, that puts me at an angle.
Can you go back and forth?
That was close.
That's what I was trying to do, but the thing...
Those are
What
pretty
if you
tight.
What if you do it against the grate there?
I might be able to, but this is just an interesting thing
Oh,
I've
they're not in
noticed.
alignment.
No.
So,
It.
the direction I jump, I don't know if I like this. It's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
It helps to make the flow work very well, but it does mean that you're in less control. That angle there
Yeah.
of the floor changes my direction. So even though I'm pushing
That's a good way of
straight,
doing. That's really interesting.
I at first thought that the angle only meant. I thought that the reason you jumped sideways is because there was like wall scraping there, but the angle changing it is more systemic.
no, it's just like, yeah,
That's good.
it's good in terms of getting flow. It's bad in terms of feeling like you have control over your jumps.
I feel like part of the thing is that like your complaint about Uncharted is that often you don't like know where you're jumping
Yeah.
to necessarily, whereas this like it jumps to the place where you want to be.
Even
Yeah,
if
it's
it's not
just
where you want to
occasionally,
be.
in this case, it
And
wasn't where I wanted.
sometimes there's like an incongruity there, but yeah, those are totally not aligned, so I guess you
Yeah.
can't.
Good job.
Yeah, that's weird. Huh? I got nothing.
Yeah, it's too far away to use the double jump to get there. Oh, wait, I was a little bit higher there, I think. Oh. Yeah, no.
So to answer your question in chat, Odyssey always gives you triple moons for something that's. Thanks. Every single main quest completion gives you a triple moon, but let's be honest, the main quest is the most boring part of the game, and it doesn't get good until you've completed the main storyline. Like you're
Oh,
entering
I see,
corruption
that's
right
what.
now.
Okay. So I want to head back and find more.
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
warp to another area where you might have taken less.
I feel like I like the uneven weightings though. Like, at least in this, like part of it is like some orbs are just gonna be more challenging than others. So you get the low hanging fruit,
So
and you
in
come
this-
back and there's just some that are just hard.
In this, it's
I don't know if I'm going forwards or backwards.
I don't have a problem with it in this one, and the reason why is that they've rationed the orbs really carefully, right? So they're like, in order to enter the next quadrant of the game, you have to hit a certain number, and I'm pretty certain that like that certain number is going to turn out to be
Yeah, sure.
if you took the obvious paths and none of the special orbs on every single area that we've been through, probably that gets you to.
I feel like there's also something fairly different about. There's a few that are hard to get, but you can see them and that they are a puzzle, and having some things that are just like, oh, you needed to look behind this one object.
Yeah, I mean, in
Yeah.
Odyssey it's different because like they're not necessarily puzzles. They're often secrets. It's always there is something interesting here. You poked at something. Here's your reward. And I think part of it is just like, obviously these are very different games with very different goals. Like Super Mario Odyssey is a game for children, and rewards you for like just poking at the edges, whereas this is like discrete challenges.
Well, so
A
the
game
thing,
for adults.
one thing about this is that a thing that bothered me about Odyssey is there was just one currency, right? There was just moons, and you get your reward is always moons. And as someone pointed out, the super currency was
Wait, there's
you
also
get
purple coins.
3 moons. There's there's purple coins. There's purple coins. I don't know. Anyway, in this, the main currency is areas you've cleared, and the sub-currency is the orbs. So, like, in general, you need to collect, 8 cleared areas, but then after that, you're like, well, how are you doing on orbs? This is something more like... This is more like, what's it called? Jack and Daxter or something.
Got caught on for a bit.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, if you go on the other side.
Yeah, there's also like a one of those wood things.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I like how the orb collection feels
So
in
they
this,
don't
but
always show scrapiness when you're at a place you can wall run. Just
nice.
huh.
The light grows stronger.
It definitely really is interesting to me that like this game like just wants you to compare it to a mascot platformer from like
Yeah.
of like a design school that like started with Super Mario 64 and like continued in that, even though it doesn't really like seem like one like when you look at it.
Yeah. The design is very Jack and Dexter, but like everything about it is screaming
Wrong
like
button.
it looks like a remake of itself.
Suppose I should thank Ormaz?
There's aspects of it that weirdly remind me of an old Ubisoft game, which is Rayman 2. There's something about...
Which is also definitely like mascot platformer of the.
Yeah.
Is it like also a collect orbs and?
You collected lums. But it's much more of a linear adventure.
Okay. You can keep doing the wall or the ceiling.
I have the problem where I'm paying attention to our conversation, and
Yep.
like the platforming is easy enough that I can do it for sections, and then I'll hit a bit where I'm like, oh, I actually had to be paying attention.
Yeah, I wonder what it like. I find this much more engaging than most of the things you're comparing it to, and I wonder if it's the.
I strongly agree.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the like having a choice of which of the linear paths to approach at any one time.
Honestly, I think it's just that the mobility feels good.
I think
Like
that
Super Mario 64 does not feel fun to move around in.
Agree.
So I think that the kind of very constrained verb set is something that's making it more interesting, because you think about Mario 64, it's just move from here to here, and it's just sort of, well, you hold the button and you jump, whereas this, like, every few feet, you're having to at least think out, what do I do?
Also, it really feels like, I don't know, every like puzzle in this, every like set of like things that you have to like jump between feels like it was deliberately constructed as a puzzle to be interesting. Whereas I would say most of the 3D games we're comparing this to, I feel like they dropped a bunch of shapes in a level editor because they thought it would look good. And like, that's just what you're like jumping between.
Yeah.
Like 3D platformers, especially early ones, but honestly always, never feel like they're puzzle first.
Yeah. In this
Whereas
one,
in this, it feels like they dropped like a bunch of like, like shapes, like saying like, there are buildings here. They're like, I'm sure they like it feels like they did in our past, and then they're like, all right, now how do I draw a route in between these cool buildings?
There's probably, on one of the production files, there's probably a very simple CAD file, like, showing what this area looked like when there were buildings, and then they just cut out everything.
I think they mean like TikTok and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Probably. I don't know, it is interesting that at any one point there's only one correct button to press. Like,
Yeah, and I'm not sure if I 100% like that.
I would like it more if it wasn't, there's only one correct button to press, but sometimes pressing the wrong button is acceptable. It's like you think about like Vib Ribbon.
Vib Ribbon, it is
Yeah.
the exact. Like, this is sort of like, I think this is fair to do for a Prince of Persia game. I'm just gonna suck at this fight for a little bit while I talk. It's suitable for a Prince of Persia game, but this game does feel in many ways like I'm queuing up a series of animations.
Yeah.
Rather than having actual like direct control, and I kind of like find it a bit less interesting than say Rayman 2, where I do have direct control over the character. The movement doesn't feel great to me in this because I can feel the like, I can feel all the stuff that is not me being in control, and the like the kind of lag that is built into that.
I feel like when your intent lines up with what the game wants you to be doing, though, it feels really good.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, like, what would be the point of the design space, like, between the two, right? Like,
I don't know if a design space in between the two exists is the thing, though. I feel like
well,
the reason why it can be so tight is precisely because it's so constrained.
you think of, well,
Like, they can make these sort of puzzles. Does somebody else want to just take this fight while I talk to this guy? So, they can make the puzzles incredibly, like, tight and complex because they know that so long as you push within this range of time, it'll, like, the animation system will click in and get you from here to there.
yeah.
See, you can just combo forever.
So that was a non-edge kill.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But it does feel like I'm queuing up animations and in between, especially like the thing that really reveals that, and we've talked about this last stream, is the B button grab ring thing where you do no action unless it contextually makes sense.
I feel like that just feels like a mistake, right? Like there should have been like an indicator, like we were talking about this, and it feels like if he
should be doing that motion.
Yeah.
That would definitely help, but I think it also sort of secretly
that's good.
secretly reveals the way that sort of
I think some of these puzzles are good though. Like that
Yeah.
was not like a super obvious.
I like these. I actually like the puzzles here.
No, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying that it actually doesn't feel like a good game to move around in me because I can tell that I'm just queuing up a series of animations rather than having control over the character. It all feels a little bit gooey.
Yeah.
Rather than actually tight. It's tight in that it does exactly what it's supposed to. It's not tight in that I have control, like one-to-one control of the character.
Yeah,
So I feel like personally, like the thing for me is that so long as like my intention is the same as what's going on screen, I don't feel like it's a problem. Like so long as those are congruous, I feel like it feels good.
just a thought. I think we might.
That it's very much what the original Prince of Persia was, which was queuing up animations and then waiting for them to run through.
Hey, cutting in. I think we may have cleared this area of orbs. We might want to consider warping to one of the other areas we've already completed.
That makes sense.
You might have to be on the ground to do that. Oh, no, you don't. Okay.
No, I haven't even got half of them.
So, like, part of the result of this is there's very little player expression in the movement.
That is extremely true.
Like, I can't do a slight wiggle to the side because, no, he's locked into that animation and he's not going to do that slight analog move to the side.
For me, I'm just comparing this to like games that have high player expression and felt like shit to play, and like
one problem with high. So you compare like Mario 64, you have a lot of player expression, but the player expression doesn't matter. And you really see this if you watch like speedrun videos or you watch like the no A press stuff, where like it demonstrates like there's a huge.
That's how you pull
section.
something interesting out of Mario 64. Is you have to.
Yeah, but there's like a huge section of the. There's like so much freedom in the possibility space, and you're only using a tiny little fragment of it.
Okay, I see.
I might actually try to fix this by like leaning even further into the whole queuing up actions thing. Like what would be interesting to me a little bit is like, all right, so some things that would be interesting. I wish that the different buttons you had were more balanced. You're using You're using jump constantly. You're using the yellow occasionally for special kinds of jumps. And you're using the red almost nothing for one or two contextual things.
Just like now that I realize it is like I thought it was for more things, but it is.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
Christine's
necessarily
correct.
mind the uneven weightings. Like, I think in general, uneven weightings and things are good because, like, if it was all just the same, like, I feel like the plates kind of feel like they're a little too even.
The plates?
Well, like the yellow plate and like the red, like, you know, the yellow, red, green plates, whatever. Okay, where am I?
I wonder if the... So a thing that I was wondering about the first time we went through here
Okay,
was...
we got a lot of these little hanging fruit. Let's just go somewhere else anyway. Where's somewhere that...
Maybe one of those two. Because we just kind of went in and out of those without really exhausting them.
Sure, let's do it.
Like, what's really weird is you've got only 3 buttons. You have only 3 buttons you need to use in platforming, except during the down crawl, which for some reason does not use the gauntlet button. Like, you never use the sword outside combat, ever.
Yeah, that's true.
I still feel like the game of this sort, there was this sort of movement with like a realistic looking character that I've enjoyed the movement most in is the first of the Tomb Raider reboots.
You mentioned that. I'm curious about that.
Which has a lot of air control, so it's very like expressive, has good puzzles, like some neat landscapes to navigate.
I actually really wanted to play that one.
I think the only other person here who's played it is Parrish. Have you played through that one?
I only played the first one, which...
Yes, I have played the first and the second, and I just reinstalled the third because I stopped halfway through because of a computer thing. But yeah, I really like that series. Aside from it having a million gross dead bodies in it, which I think it could have done without. Yeah, it's really
Miguel,
it's a really good
first
series.
one you said you liked?
The first is the only one I've played so far.
I really didn't like the first one. Like, it was...
No, if you liked the first one, I would say continue trying them because I feel
I
like
did
they.
not like the first one.
I meant
Oh.
Miguel in that like I think that they iterated well through them. Once again, aside from not learning about dead bodies.
I think like the storytelling isn't good in it. It's pretty weak storytelling, but the platforming itself.
I just
felt
hated
really
the
good to
shooting.
me.
Like, there was like, I didn't feel like there was any platforming. It felt like it was like all like, I am shooting a bunch of guys with a World War II gun for like hours at a time.
They didn't remove the shooting, but they downplayed it considerably in each of the iterations and went for like shorter fights with fewer people. And
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I
The
was
fights
really,
are so much less than what the Uncharted series has that
the
I
big
don't think I noticed.
the big thing is that like I just found myself thinking like with the setup for the first one is that like I would have really liked it if like, you know, there's like the enemies from the ship. Like if there were just like 8 guys
Yeah.
and it was like more built around like them being like tough encounters, like lean more into stealth, lean more into like they flirted with that in the opening, and then it just turns into like a very, very straightforward shooter.
No, the third one has a lot more like I'm going to swim under this area, like break the surface of the water and pull this person under, and then I'm going to dab myself with mud and hide against this wall until someone walks by, kind of thing.
I
Okay,
noticed.
yeah,
I think you're in a corruption zone now.
I mostly found the combat forgettable. Like I sort of forgot that
No,
was
and it doesn't remove all the other combat, but they're just like there's a lot fewer sections with fewer enemies.
If you were back there was like a whole area that you didn't go to. You can only teleport once you get back to a non-corrupted area, though.
But no, navigating in that game and like using there's the like zip lines and being able to like drop from one zip line onto another and needing to do that in spots. It all felt really good.
No, they added onto both, like all of those systems were also added onto. They added arrows that you shoot into the wall and can balance on to make
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's
points
way
where you
more
can
interesting.
stand. They added where like when you're doing the rappelling thing, you can like add extra rope and hang down and then swing from the end of the rope to like give yourself
Yeah.
more swinging points.
They added some of that to Uncharted 4, and it definitely benefited from that. But Uncharted 4 is very much in the queuing up animations style of platforming.
So did y'all ever play Out of This World?
Yeah.
Out of This World was a lot like Prince of Persia, but it was interesting because like it had a lot of stuff you did that was like extremely like stuff that you would never be able to actually have a verb for in a video game. Like press this button to kick this can or something. And part of how it was able to do that was that
Part of how I was able to do that was...
I see how you do this this
Yep.
puzzle. So okay.
I don't know how you get down
No, I do know.
though. Okay.
You want to hang off of that center.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I missed my chance, so now I have to fling myself into the void.
Andy, what were you going to say about...
Part of what made Out of This World work was that the configuration space of the game was extremely constrained, but not in a way that you really would notice. So like, in any one area, there were only like, I might have mentioned this last time, they're doing something similarly subtle in the Abe's Odyssey games. In any one...
That time you could jump straight across. Can I see something quickly?
I think
Sure.
what you want to do is, can you go to the ring in the center and just hang on the ring?
Ready to go on?
I don't think I did go straight though.
Nope, I can go
Oh.
straight there, so it doesn't work how we think. It might... Oh, God. It might be...
It's probably just magic.
like, yeah, hand-placed stuff
That's
that is
what I'd
making
expect.
it...
A little...
Oh, that's not good. That is describing the problem that I have with Uncharted's jumps.
Can I try this jump?
Which is that they've hidden logic to make you do specific things, and therefore, if you deviate slightly from that, you don't know what it's going to do.
Okay. That was not what I meant to do, but I know what I'm supposed to do now. Oh, that's awful. I didn't hit the button to do the ring, but it just did it anyway. Nope. Okay. I thought that I'd found a cool puzzle. I think you're just supposed to start at one of those lower
Yeah, I
levels.
think so.
and-
I think that's more within the game's idiom. This is not.
Yeah. Okay, so
Although I guess I just accidentally
Whoa.
did it anyway.
some speedrun
Well,
shit here.
shit. I should have gone back.
Okay, so this is a good illustration of what I was trying to say about Out of This World. Out of This World gave you a really, really limited configuration space, but it hit it really well. So on any one screen, there were really only about 8 positions you could stand in, and you didn't really notice because let's say that you're standing in one place and you just tap right, you take 1 step right. You tap right again, you take 1 step right. But you also had like a run verb, and when you ran, you'd run a bunch at once. And when you let go, you would always come to a stop at,
Yeah. Okay. We were just supposed to come down here and then do
yeah.
this.
Oof. So you'd always come to a stop at a very precise place that was one of those 8 spots on the screen. So that meant that like you were making all kinds of ridiculously precise looking jumps. You were doing also all kinds of like really strangely fluid movements, like running up to a very particular space and then jumping off on to grab like a vine
Yeah.
or kick a can or something. And it was always, you always felt like you had just nailed a really precise movement. It was never precise because the screen was just split up into 8s. And everything was a matter of, did you press the button in the right
Wait.
1/8
Sorry.
of the screen?
Are you talking about Out of This World or Flashback?
This is
Out of
sounding
This
like
World.
flashback.
This sounds like Flashback.
Flashback is Out of This World.
No,
No?
they're
No.
two different games.
They're not the same game, but it's the same like developer or something?
Wait.
It's the
They're
same-
very different. They're extremely different games. Or am I thinking
Okay.
of Another World?
Literally, Another World and Out of This World are the same game.
Okay.
They renamed Out of This World to
Okay.
Another World.
Flashback is a different
Flashback-
game made with the same general philosophy, but it's less
I
cinematic.
don't think it's the same philosophy though. I
It's
think
the
it
same
has.
engine though, right?
I believe that part is correct, but Another World is like a puzzle game where every screen is. You have to do some weird puzzle to not instantly die cinematically.
It's accurate, but
Which
also
is supposed to be like. Honestly, I think it's Dragon's Lair. It
There
really
are-
feels.
It is
Dragon's
Dragon's
Lair
Lair,
done
but-
right.
But here's the thing.
I've played through and won it,
Hold
and it
on.
is more enjoyable than Dragon's Lair.
You shall have no more. No! I have lost her.
Father,
Lost. Gone from us.
I'm here. We can stop this. If you come, if you help us heal the land.
Whoa. Got some magic on your face there, dude.
No!
Sorry. Guess I'm gonna have to fight your dad.
Dad fight.
Don't hurt him! Come on! I meant you! Don't hurt him!
He's trying to kill me!
Okay, actually, I'm looking it up, and I can't find any connection between.
They're just both rotoscope style games.
All right, but they're like,
Um,
if you look, they're like sold in like a sold in like a pack or something.
Huh, I've never seen that.
Like I'm finding multiple times they were sold like in a bundle. Sometimes.
Oh, he's just reversed my controls. Using the.
Oh yeah, the confused thing.
Yep.
Yeah, Flashback is the one that.
Okay, it's the same. It's the same French.
Publisher.
It's the same French publisher. And it might be that they just somehow got some of the same software. But Out of This
there's
World was
definitely,
made by
like-
like one dude, Eric
Yeah.
Hall. Whereas
Oh.
Flashback was.
There's definitely, like, having played a bunch of both, there's philosophical similarities to
Yeah.
them.
There's also there are
They definitely do not feel similar to play though.
there are actually two official sequels to Out of This World. One of which was made by like the publisher or something, with like some early involvement from the Out of This World dude, but they didn't really live up to it. There was also one that was made specifically by the Out of This World dude called like Love of the Alien or something weird.
Is that the 3D one? There's one
don't
that's like
remember.
like a third-person 3D game.
We don't know what he'll do.
What more can he do?
From what I can tell, Flashback was made by the publisher
Yeah.
after they basically they published Out of This World. It was
Yeah.
successful, and then
Okay.
the head of the publisher designed Flashback to be like Out of This World.
Okay. Anyway,
Speaking of Tomb Raider.
so like you said, Out of This World is usually extremely. A lot of the time, it's extremely.
Shall we get red?
Red sounds
for
good.
it.
A lot of the time, it's extremely Dragon's Lair-like.
Let us enter fertile grounds in the Citadel. And the
It's
Heritage.
Dragon's Lair, but with more player expression.
Well, but the thing is, like, a
Not
lot
a
of the
ton,
time, it's
but
Dragon's
a little
Lairness
bit
that
more.
looks like you're doing platforming. So, like, in the first
Yeah.
level, there's a thing where you walk to the right side of the. You walk to the right side of the world while, like, trying not to get killed by leeches. And then once you hit the right side of the world, you're getting chased. It's like a series of chases where you're getting chased by a monster, and then you're getting chased the other way by the monster.
You've
But
just
you're-
described all of the game that I managed to play.
Well, that's, I think, as far as anyone got.
I've won it. So,
I've gotten about halfway through, but
which is why I probably see more connection between it and Flashback.
I haven't played
Because-
Flashback. I would love to.
I would be up for it. It's been a long
What's this
time
do?
since I did it.
Okay, good. It's telling me the wrong button.
Not red?
No? Maybe it. I tried pressing.
Try holding it.
We have to get across.
Use Y to use the power
Yep.
plate. They're not color
No, I
coded.
know.
That's awful.
So
I agree with what you're saying.
we just made an assumption because it was the first one we learned.
No, I hear
Yeah.
you.
We're lucky.
I had it under control.
What's the timing on it? This is gonna take a few tries. The timing on it is weird. You'll probably fall a couple times before you.
Definitely like more weird sort of canned.
Yeah.
You know what it is that I ask.
Keys that are not keys but are kind of shitty mini games.
It's definitely frustrating that that's the structure of the unlockable.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they could have been more interesting. Here, does someone wanna?
Just because
I'll
I saw that
do some
doesn't
more
mean
since I interrupted partway through.
the vision of you falling. Armin's trying to,
The visions aren't from Araman.
but they don't have to be true. No one can tell you the future.
Have I mentioned lately that I really like the Prince's neckline? It's just it's just really good.
No. That
What
is
was
not the
that?
zoom key, that is the quick turn.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, some neat motion blur on
Yeah, good motion blur.
that. Okay, so where am I heading?
You're heading to a red area, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, what if
If
what
you
if
can get both of
instead
those, then
Yeah.
we can see
Yeah.
the boss.
What if instead of a canned flying sequence, it had given you like something that allowed you to grind on rails?
That's better.
Always fun.
Yeah,
grinding
no,
is always
I'm
good.
serious.
Well,
So-
that feels like an actual movement verb as opposed to just warp to this other spot. You know.
I still feel like I really wish it was an actual movement verb. On the other hand,
Yeah.
like, I realize that's asking a lot in a game that already has like a bunch of movement stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. Someone in chat is saying that like it feels like it's done with like network constraints in mind. Like they're not saying that, but
Yeah.
honestly, it doesn't. I get what's being said there. It doesn't actually feel that way. It's not that your movement isn't precise in timing. It's just the directionality that feels.
Yeah,
like,
you have no control over direction.
But the actual like timing of you like pressing buttons and doing stuff and like doing your jump,
It is doing a lot of error correction on our jumps.
it does in a way that like is it does error correction on your jumps. Like if you do a late double jump, she'll like go down and fling you up first before like doing the double jump.
But there's also just like a lot of snapping.
But
and
it
such
is
going
like,
on.
but the timing of it is actually precise.
Yeah, no, like if I hit a button, it pretty quickly he does his jump.
Little thing. I like how they do
Which I
sort
think
of
helps
the-
make the game feel like it's still like.
I like how they do the effective walls in this. The thing where like you can't climb up that, so they have to put a little like bezel there, because you can fall down from anywhere. If they want to prevent you from going down, they have to put like a little like alcove. Anyway, the point I was trying
So
to
you
make
can
about
teleport to a place that's close.
Oh yeah.
the point I was trying to make about Out of This World is that like if this game was more like that, like let's say if instead of having just
Except that by out of this world you meant
That one.
flashback.
I've never played Flashback, so I don't know.
Okay. So I don't think Out of This World has more discrete movements than what you're describing.
Yes, it does. It's just,
But what you're describing does totally match.
You think it does or it doesn't have discrete movement?
It does? It has.
it's very adventure gaming. It's
It is much more analog in terms of where you can be
No,
positioned.
no, they hide it. That's what I'm trying
You're
to say.
thinking of flashback. I'm certain of this.
I have literally never in my life even seen Flashback. I assure you, it's Out of This World hides it really, really well. But if you, both that and Abe's Odyssey, if you're paying really close attention, it's got snapping of various kinds.
But what about the fact that you can do the slow step in, like the incredibly slow step
That might be the
in
thing.
Out of This World?
Anyway, the point is, let's imagine this. Okay, let's say Abe's Odyssey, because Abe's Odyssey is on a grid like that.
Yeah.
Let's say that we had
just
that
teleport.
kind of movement in this game. You could only go to a set number of spaces. A lot of this confusion would be gone. Like that big problem we were having a minute ago with like, can we like scroll down here? It's because like they've set up a game world where they're trying to give you the illusion of free movement while actually having you move between these like pre-programmed spots where like it triggers animations. And that means that if we go to an area where logically, by the rules that it's given us, we ought to be able to move, but they didn't put in the pre-programmed animations, we just kind of flounder around and we can't do stuff. Like, if it was the case that, like, instead of just you run up to this angled thing, and then once you jump off the angled thing, you magically swerve to the right to start an animation they assume you were trying to do, what if you could only jump off from that direction or something?
So I think this is the best compromise you can come up with for that.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't. I think the flashback trick doesn't work in 3D.
It maybe doesn't.
I think this is a pretty good compromise of it. It's just like it is a gaming philosophy. I think this does what it's doing well, and it's good at it, and it's a good game. It's not what I find most interesting about jumping around a 3D space.
Yeah.
It's not leaning into the sort of type of gameplay I want from a game about jumping.
I feel like the version of this that I want would be something that was actually like Bib Ribbon with movement, right? Like, you're here, you want to get to here, and the only way to move around is to just be continuously like hitting buttons that involve different chunky things. Actually, it almost might be interesting if there were like literally.
Okay, I'm heading in the right direction.
It might actually work if there were literally no control over movement at all. Like, instead of being able to run around, it's just like you press one button for grab the next like
I
plank
don't like
sticking
that.
out.
I feel like that's dropping one of the aspects of the game that I like, though, which is that it's puzzles. Like, it's not just about doing like like rhythm-based like movement. It's also like analyzing what are the angles of things in the geometry. Is that like, does that have an angle on that? Is this directly across from that?
That part's really good, but it is rough in that, like, I feel like I want the decision space to be more constrained so that the puzzles can be more kind of like... Where are you?
On the way towards, I think, where we want to be.
Okay. No, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
puzzles in this are very, like, they're Uncharted, but done as a mass, like something that they can mass produce, whereas Uncharted are, like, bespoke areas.
Yeah.
Which means that this is a little bit easier to read what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I wonder what...
But also not quite as cool an area to explore in some ways, because it all kind of looks the same.
I wonder what it would be like...
I like that it's less cinematic, honestly. Like, it feels more like a place that you're exploring and less like a...
Yeah.
I do wish they were doing more with what you find in it. I think they're flirting with the idea that all these places have stories, but they're not necessarily actually like interesting in practice. Like, they like to have that little conversation.
Yeah.
Like, this used to be an opera house, and
but no,
you can only sort of see it.
Does puzzle areas, and basically they'll stop the action, and there'll be a series of doing jumps like this.
Okay.
But in like a unique space.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but also means. So I want to hit Y there.
I want to hit Y there.
Okay.
Yeah, some of those puzzle tombs that in the Tomb Raiders we're talking about are really good examples of that, where it'll be like, oh, it's a boat that's like frozen in a waterfall. So you're traveling through the boat, but the boat is at a weird angle, so it's got all the normal things that would be floors or walls. Yeah. And I did look up. Miguel's correct about it being extremely analog in Out of This World, but it's in a very strange way. Where other adventure games would have you take a tiny step if you moved a little bit, it allows you to do just 1 or 2 frames of the step animation, but you will just stand there with your leg hanging in midair until you press forward again.
That may be what I'm thinking. What happens if you try to duck, though? Because, like, in the first area, there's that thing where you have to, like, duck to kick the slugs.
It looked to me like ducking resets your walking animation, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
Huh.
Yeah, I remember just having to do really precise stuff to kick all of the slugs.
Well, so the slug kicking... So here's the thing. The slug kicking is precise, but what you actually want to be doing is running through that area while jumping a lot.
Yeah, no, I've done both.
What's more interesting to me is that there's, like... When you actually start fleeing, you when you actually start fleeing, there's like specific points where you have to jump to do things like catch a ledge or catch a rope or something. There is snapping on that. Like if you just hit it a moment early, it just kind of like cues it. But it doesn't, they somehow managed to fool you into believing
So
that
I think that was the entrance into this area.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting that they can do that. Like, honestly, the level of design, maybe?
Try asking the orb. Not that orb, the other orb.
Yeah, which one is, tell me what it is.
Listen to what my mother had said.
I think it's
Is
the
it
jump.
Y?
I think it's the double jump button, but on ground.
Which direction I look?
Yeah. Oh, no, this is where it wants me
Yeah.
to go.
Yep.
Yeah, I find the level design is honestly super interesting. Like, there's this whole, like, those nodes.
What's she trying to say?
Oh, that's the,
Keep your eyes open.
Why are you so jumpy?
I'm not jumpy. It's just there's quiet and then there's too quiet.
he needs to make himself,
I
like,
can't see
make
it
up his
ahead.
mind about volume.
Exactly.
Heh.
That's what's making me nervous.
Okay.
You notice she never misses a jump?
Yeah, really, she should be doing it. It's like that classic
Yeah,
thing
she
where
can
she's
fly.
the competent one. But
Yeah,
we play
which
as
means
the
that
one.
she needs to, like, be lagging behind your...
I think the thing is that you're the meat shield.
She should do all the platforming and then just teleport you into sword fight for her.
So I've just been thinking about like what I don't like about the narrative in this, like what is making it not work for me. Like you go to these areas and like she relates like this is something that was part of the old civilization and like every single one of those has fallen flat even though like it's
Yeah.
the thing that like I should want like to make like this feel like more of a place. And I think probably the fix that I would go for is
We can't reach the fertile ground.
You guys sure know how to design a place. How do I get myself into these messes?
I think the thing for me is that, like what lands consistently is the romantic comedy elements. Like, whenever they have banter or like whenever they're like bouncing off each other, that works really well. Like, and I wish like they leaned even more into that. I feel like if they could just find a way to relate every bit of storytelling to that. Like if they go into a place and like he's like immediately starts like trying to case the place. Like he's like, oh yeah. So like back then you could have like snuck into the opera house and like then she'd go, oh no, that's terrible. And like then you'd get like that would be like a springboard for banter.
There's a weird thing with the banter where like it feels like this bit's missing in that she seems to know stuff about his character,
Yeah.
which has not been.
There's been like bits and pieces revealing it. I think the non-linearity is really making it struggle.
Yeah, no, it's a hard challenge.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh man, lots of pressure plates.
It looks quiet.
Don't say it's quiet. Don't ever say it's quiet.
like a sort of assumption that he's a ladies' man when there's been sort
Yeah.
of nothing other than they're floating.
Yeah.
I feel
Felt like I'm like, is that something we're supposed to know about his character? Because
I think it would have been good if it was just like something that like he would then riff off, like if it was just like them talking shit about each other and like that would work pretty well.
I think she knows he's a ladies' man because of that neckline.
fair.
Never say it's quiet.
I feel like the writing
Christine, is the neckline character development?
the writing feels like the way thing I think is it feels like a first draft or it feels like half of someone's script or something.
I mean, I think probably the problem is that it's like 5 people's script
Yeah. Or like they're just like
designed to be seen in any order.
Well, also, you don't know when they got to write this, how much
Yeah.
work that they influenced. Like,
It's like, just keep writing, we'll use some of it, and then they didn't realize it was all gonna go in.
we need some quips. Give us some quips.
Yeah.
No, it's frustrating because like there are definitely some writers doing good work in there. It's just I think overall it does not come together.
Yeah.
Which is like more than you can say for a lot of AAA games.
I mean, it's more than you can say than basically any Ubisoft game that I played.
Nice. Like, one thing that I think about a lot with this particular kind of development that Ubisoft does is that, like,
God, I can just imagine the spreadsheet that this shit is in. No wonder they can't.
Oh, wrong button. Hey,
was
a
pretty
bit
good.
where I had the button mash that actually worked.
weird.
Oh, yep, that's I remember not loving that mechanic.
What mechanic?
The flat on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Chat says, Sands of Time had gradual wardrobe loss too. By the end, he was shirtless.
Heh.
That actually sounds great.
Okay, we really
yeah.
need to play that one. Because I remember
I
loving
do
the
have
demo.
it, I've just never played it.
Should we do that next week?
Yeah, I'd be up for...
I'd be
Like, I
down.
think it'd be an interesting comparison.
Yeah.
I had trouble getting the settings right when I tried to play it on PC, but maybe it's better now.
well,
I'm-
tentatively then.
I also wonder whether we could just find a PS2 version cheap in the next week.
Might be possible.
That might be preferable, yeah.
So, something I'd wonder if y'all see the same thing here, if I'm just off base.
Oh, yeah.
It's Mario Kart.
I've been inked.
The thing I think a lot about with like companies like Ubisoft is how they seem sometimes to have a kind of development where every team is isolated from every other team. So there's like someone in a room doing writing, there's someone in a room designing environments. I wonder if the writers had like more feedback into the areas or something, right?
I think this is just like what happens in game development when you're working with huge teams. Like, it's
Yeah.
unavoidable. They have a process. It is the only thing that
That's
lets
the...
them...
I keep forgetting that that's block, because it looks nothing like block.
Yeah.
I think blocking is kind of a difficult concept to communicate.
They could
I
have
was going to say, I'm pretty sure this is probably one of the smaller team
I suspect
big
so.
3D games. Like, this has so much less content in it than an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, and that's how, like, I feel like that's why it's fun in a way that Assassin's
Yeah.
Creeds are
Yeah.
not.
But it does feel
No,
like
that's
they
not
were...
at all a criticism. It just, I think some of the supposition about how this was made are probably wrong given
Well,
how small
It
this is.
feels like a small team game made with large team processes.
I suspect it's probably still pretty big, though. Like,
Just like the Assassin's Creeds are multiple studios spread out around the world, as I understand it. Whereas this is probably all done in one studio.
I
Well, I
think
think-
that's... I believe that's correct.
I think something I've heard is that at some
It's still
point...
a big studio.
I think this has happened with both Ubisoft and BioWare. At some point, they've gotten like this thing that you mentioned, where like with anime, every single anime is made by every single anime studio, because the deadlines are so short that like everyone theoretically has their own anime, but like once they get the funding, the deadline is so short that they just wind up like farming out to every other anime studio to finish it.
I'm not sure there's an equivalent of that in games other than, like,
BioWare.
the fact that a lot of these studios spin up and spin down again.
BioWare has been doing that, but you only hear about that in these stories about why the latest BioWare game was a disaster that no one liked.
I don't...
Who made the new Deus Exes? Because that had the thing where they farmed out the boss fights to a second studio.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That
which
is
is
an instance
wild.
of that. Remember, once you throw them up, you can just
Yeah,
collect
no, I hit the... I always end
Yeah.
up hitting it a second time, and that ruins
Oh,
the
yeah,
combo.
that's the one thing you can't do.
Oh, that time I tried hitting the her button and it didn't work.
I'm really unclear when the her button is allowed.
Not when it's in any sort of special state. I know that much.
Yeah.
Might need to be followed up by, like, an attack.
Oh.
When I like to do the her button is if I land a sword, if I immediately hit, usually I can combo sword into girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, BV728 is mentioning that there's a bunch of companies in China, Japan, and India who work on games but don't get credit for it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Like, I remember Yoshi's Island DS was like an unusual like glimpse into that world just because Yoshi's Island DS was made by one of those studios, but Nintendo actually let the studio put their own name on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name, but there's a Japanese studio that some of the Retronauts people looked into at one point that did so much contract work that was put under other people's names or had no name put on it.
Brownie Brown did a bunch of that. Now
Well, you
named
can
One Up
always
Studio.
tell a Brownie Brown game because of the pixel art.
You can always tell a Brownie Brown game.
They have such a distinctive
Oh,
team
yeah.
of artists. For people who don't know, Brownie Brown is the company that spun off from the Secrets of Mana team. And they definitely took the
You
artists
can
with
tell.
them. Extremely took the artists with them. Finally loaning the stupid QuickTime. I do not like that mechanic. I know it's trying to do something good for me, to make it easier for me to recover.
I'd be interested in your thoughts after you get through this fight.
Tosei, or Tos, probably Tosei
That's the one,
is the
yeah.
one I'm thinking of. Yeah, that's developed over 1,000 games, rarely credited.
Man, that sucks. Like,
No, and there's literally, if you look at the credits for Ancient, the like literal like family business run by the musician, not run by, co-founded by the musician of Streets of Rage, but run by his mom, with his sister also on staff. They worked on Shenmue in some capacity. It's like that stuff definitely seems to
Wow.
happen in Japan at least. Well, and I guess, yeah, the Deus Ex is in Japan, so yeah.
yeah, Eidos Montreal apparently.
But I think it was somewhere in Europe that the bosses were done. And apparently there's a very obvious mismatch in like approach.
Anyway, why don't we let you concentrate?
Okay. Yeah, I'm hitting her button and it wasn't. Oh. Oh. Wait, it has her talk button going up?
I think that was a misfire on.
Yes.
Why do we always have to go towards the bad guys?
So low risk N+1 sequels has a very different meaning to me because it makes me
I
think
also initially misread that. Which I would say seemed pretty high risk from where I was sitting.
For those who don't know, N Plus and N++ were both made here in Toronto, so we know the devs. So that's immediately, if I see N+ sequel, I think, oh, N++.
I mean, I will say we're like getting a ton of really amazing small studio games right now, to the extent where like it makes me nervous. There's so much competition.
Yeah. Okay, where am I? Give me glowy orb. It's really good that they have the glowy orb because it
Yeah.
is definitely easy to get lost
And
in
that's
these
like
environments.
something that works really well because these environments are so, like these paths are so tight.
No, I do want to say, like, with the criticism I'm giving, I agree with all of your points about, like, the level design and such. And I think this game is doing what it sets out to do, and it's doing it well. It's just not... As a big, obsessive fans of different types of jumps, this
Yep.
is not one of my favorite types of jump.
I think part of it for me is that I'm not necessarily a huge fan of, say, I don't know. I've just played like so many like actual classic like platformers that like I'm just super burnt out on that. So like mobility that feels different is really compelling.
Yeah, and since you haven't played all the Uncharted, this feels probably a lot more different.
I just want to know, like, if this is Super Mario Brothers, what is Super Mario Brothers 3? Like, I want a more refined version of this.
I would love to see the iteration on this so much. Like, I'd love to see a version that like thought more about its.
Oh, that was a different bit of. I was like, it's worn up there. Maybe I'm supposed to go up there. It's like, no, I'm not at all supposed to go up there.
But like, I feel like the real missing link here, and like, or like the real weak spot in the mobility in this game are these plates, which are just not interesting.
The plates are
They're
the
extremely like a key. This is extremely. You got the red key. Now you can open the red doors,
So
and they all have a different animation, but the animations aren't even that good anyway.
They're the problem I have done badly, whereas the problem I have is done well in most of this. Like, I think they're doing what they're trying to do well in most of it, but it is like extremely long queued up animations that you have no control over.
Yeah.
So Parrish was asking, what if instead of like just a bounce plate, it was like a rail that you slid on? That would be great, because the thing about a rail you slide on is you can see where the rail begins and ends. So in
Yeah,
this,
that's sort of what I was thinking. Is it's like they don't really have to like add a new challenge to it, but you can sort of prefigure in the environment. Oh, that's how I'm gonna get to
Miguel,
that
no.
place.
yeah. Like right now, you're just traversing an area where occasionally there's just a random warp that takes you somewhere else in the level.
Okay, so there actually is a design lineage between this and Assassin's Creed that does like answer something that.
They do have, I know, they're running on the same engine. I looked up that.
Well, it's just that like Assassin's Creed 1 is like a game about
Okay,
parkour
that was not
Yeah.
super
In-
clear to me that I could make that.
in the Middle East. Like it feels like a very
Yeah.
obvious lineage.
Um,
And I know the things that I thought that were kind of interesting about the first Assassin's Creed, y'all have been telling me that they completely dropped. But honestly, I feel like the fact that this is tight is what makes it work, and
Although,
like
So
the
I-
free exploration aspects of Assassin's Creed really interfere with the like parkour actually feeling
Yeah.
good.
some of the people who played the first Assassin's Creed told me that like there's lots of just climb this building elements, and like once you start climbing a building, it's like you're entering a completely different
okay,
game.
that perspective is just not good at making me think I can jump to this.
Oh, really?
Can you change the camera angle?
No. It was a
That's
fixed
annoying.
camera angle. Basically, the only way I could figure out that I could make that jump, like I was looking here, that is not.
So those poles are things you can always climb on.
Yeah. But when I looked at it, I thought it was much further in the the
Unfortunately,
foreground.
the fact that the camera is here at all probably means you can make the jump, because otherwise
Yeah.
they wouldn't have put the camera there.
But if
which
I could move the camera,
sucks his
I'd
reasoning.
know where its depth was, and it would be more obvious.
Anyway,
Like it's because it's linear, it works out fine.
Yeah.
But I definitely stood
I will
here
say
for
you
a
figured it
moment.
out pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
so I haven't played Assassin's Creed 1, but I do feel like if instead of just like you're walking on like broken planks on undifferentiated architecture, if you're like you were climbing a specific building and you can see the bottom of the building and you can see the top of the building, that might actually engage me more than what's happening here.
The problem is
It might, but I guarantee you the open world stuff will bore the shit out of you.
Oh, I'm certain it will.
it does have the thing though that everything is something you can grip, basically. So
Yeah,
there
yeah.
is no parkour challenge.
Yeah,
At
you
least
can
in the
cl-
later ones.
No, even in the first one, it's just like you can climb everything. It's like you just like hold down the unstealthy actions trigger to.
The trigger. Down as a trigger,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
But that
So
didn't feel
are these
fair.
blobs or the new bugs? in
Yeah,
terms
there's a
of
new
the
thing that
paths?
they've added.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I want to get eaten.
A lot of this tight level design wouldn't work if they did give you more air control in your jumping, I would say. Like, part of why they're able to put things so
Yeah.
close together is because I can't do a slight adjustment while I jump through the air.
Yeah, the thing I'm really interested in like is what powers like would you add? And I don't know. That's a tough question. Like I think these plates suck. I don't know what you would replace them with. I think it would have to be like it's there's no obvious answer. But I would like to know, like, what is the
So-
weird thing that you do too?
Maybe don't make it a Metroidvania.
That's
like,
an option. Actually, you know what I might do here? They actually have given
Well, I think
themselves.
it's not very Metroidvania though.
They've given themselves
I
a
mean,
solution
make
they
it
didn't
even-
explore.
Even less Metroidvania. You just give me linear
I'll be fine.
areas to do, like
So-
with a bit of exploration. But
Here's an idea. The entire premise here is you're moving through ruins. What if instead of the things you unlock being verbs, what if the things you unlocked were platforms? So like, what if like when you first enter the area, it's just completely devastated and empty, but like when you unlock red, like some of the buildings remember themselves and like just a few buildings come back into existence.
That'd be interesting.
And then like every time that you upgrade, you have a reason to revisit an area because like some jumps that would have been really hard are now easy, and some things that you just couldn't get across at all, there's now like an additional walkway or an additional piece of wood or something.
I think okay. So we've got ghost platforms and grind rails. We've got 2 out of 4 of our unlocks. We can do this.
I
It would
guess
be
the
really
thing
funny
for
to
me-
explain why rails unlock. Like you'd get like suddenly you've got wheelies or something.
he just learns he gets better balance.
Excuse me?
Sponsored by Soap Shoes. They were still around when this came out, right?
I think so.
Someone in chat says something that I don't know if it directly relates to this, but seems really deep. It might just be grumpy, seeing what I want to see. But I think old stealth action games were figuring out what the level design wanted you to do, whereas new ones are figuring out what the mechanics want you to do.
I mean, I guess it depends on how old you're thinking, because I know that what Miguel's about to say is that original Metal Gear is very much about like what the mechanics want you to do.
Yeah, I feel like right from the start, the same year, you get both Metal Gear and Thief, and they have very different ideas about how to do stealth.
All right, so think this through. What's your game plan here?
Fall, die.
Okay, if I can make a slight suggestion, don't do the last part.
Okay, gonna try fall. So is this, okay, I thought that was something I could grab.
It really looked like something you could grab.
Fuse.
Yeah.
This is the problem, is that they've got like a like line of chalk on the wall as an extremely important visual indicator, and then that's just stuff everywhere.
Yeah, from that angle, those looked like they were grippy things.
So if you think about
Yeah, I will say neither of us have you haven't played like Splinter Cell or like Siphon Filter, right?
I
I
played
played
it.
the demo disc of Siphon Filter, and that was enough to like make me not want to play.
I played like, yeah, the demo of the first Siphon Filter and like bounced off it hard.
is it possible that the real story of stealth games is everyone coming around to Hideo Kojima's view of how to design them?
I'm definitely interested in later Splinter Cell. Apparently, those are doing interesting stuff. Especially with lighting. Apparently, is a big thing in those. So I'm actually interested in seeing that.
That is interesting because that's something that hasn't been done.
No, it's something that's like extremely
it depends
not
on
in Metal
how
Gear.
it's doing lighting, because lighting is a very simple lighting model is big in Thief, but it's very simple. Whereas if they're doing it in later Splinter Cell, I'm wondering if they were using shadows. Metal Gear 2 does use shadows. It appears in very few spots to be useful. I think it's something where they're like, this would be cool. They found one place to use it and then realized they couldn't do anything else cool with it. What am I? Oh, okay.
Not that this
That
helps,
was-
but the what stealth existed in the Abe's Odyssey games were extremely shadow-based.
I forgot
I mean, I
there
think
was
that's also,
stealth in
like-
those.
Yeah, it was actually kind of important. Someone
This
brings
is easier in a game where you don't need dynamic 3D lighting.
Someone brings up in chat that in Horizon Zero Dawn, a lot of the stuff was easier because they were really particular about if it was grabby, it had the yellow tape on it.
That was a really good way of communicating it. I think part of the reason why that works really well is that there just isn't that much of it though, whereas this
Yeah.
is like everything is something you interact with, like
Well, so you compare Mirror's Edge. The thing about Mirror's Edge was that like they were really meticulous about the things that you can interact with are all like very particularly colored. But they could do that because there was very little color in the landscape, right? So like they made a point of limiting. There was very little noise. They made a point of limiting their design vocabulary, and that meant that they could.
I
take
don't like how
things that-
blind that jump
Or their
is.
visual vocabulary.
Yeah, their visual design vocabulary was extremely limited, and that meant that they could simply choose any number of things that weren't in visual design
Oh yeah, it was
vocabulary
in a boss fight.
and give them meaning.
Happy to see us.
First Tomb Raider reboot did very bright white paint
Interesting.
and such on things, and it was basically a heavy level of white that was outside of sort of the gamut of the rest of the game,
That's good.
so that it was always really, really clear. It was kind of artificial, but it worked.
That's good, and another reason that's good is that gets around color blindness limitations.
Another nice change they made in the most recent one is they put a bunch of different level of difficulty sliders in, and one of them is for exploration, where you can set it to either have that bright white paint, slight wear on the path we're supposed to go, or neither.
Oh wow, that's great.
That's really interesting.
You're kind of making me want to play this game.
More?
Wait,
I
that's the most
cannot
recent Tomb
emphasize
Raider?
enough how
That's the
much
most
you would
recent
not
one, yeah.
like
Shadow
to play.
of. Yeah.
If I could just turn off the combat.
I don't know if you can do that the way you sort of can for Uncharted.
But that is one of the sliders, though. You can set combat very easy and exploration very hard, if you want.
Maybe I'll go for that. Did I tell y'all why I never finished Mirror's Edge 2?
Because you have to shoot someone.
Yeah. Well, so the first game, they like had this really tacked on, not very good combat system.
I really don't think it's tacked on. I feel like it's like a core part of it. Like I understand I understand that you don't like it thematically, but it really is like a very key aspect of the gameplay.
A lot of people there were a lot of people who liked the movement but did not like the combat. The thing was, in the first game, the combat was actually literally optional. You could just choose not to do it.
I disagree with this last week, and I still disagree with it. I feel like a lot of the game like stops being fun if you're like slowing down to not engage with the combat. I agree that it's thematically it's not good thematically. I don't like the fact that you're like shooting people in it. I feel like it just doesn't feel good to do.
All I know is that I avoided all combat in the first Mirror's Edge, and I loved it. And constantly when I bring up Mirror's Edge to people, they're like, I liked it, but the combat ruined it for me. Which tells me that there was something that didn't work that I just went around. Anyway, you can't avoid the combat in the second Mirror's Edge. You get about 1 hour in, and there's a mission where they literally say, here's a teenager working a minimum wage security job on a rooftop. Beat him unconscious, and then it will...
What?
Yeah, no, I'm serious. You have to get a fuse out of a box that he's standing next to, and the fuse does not spawn until he is unconscious. So you have to either just beat him until he falls down and stops moving, or you have to throw him off the rooftop, murdering him. Like, I think that they got some kind of feedback saying like nobody liked the guns, so they took out all the guns, but in the process they made it much more violent because they added this fighting game style combat system that was, as far as I could tell, really good and really well developed. Everyone seemed to like it, but I was just refusing to play anything but pacifist.
Wrong button.
I got to this, I did like a bunch of really complicated stealth things where I like led him like way to the other side of the building from the fuse box and then ran back to the fuse box. There was no fuse in the box until you beat him up. Fair person, have you ever
Every
played
time I throw her at it, he happens to go into his animation.
That is part of why I've started only pressing the her button after I've successfully
Yeah, I think
connected with the sword.
I think it's like worth doing like once you're in a combo, not at the start of one. I'm not even sure you can start one with it.
I've had trouble stringing it into the combos because it happens that
Might need to work on the timing? I don't know.
that is in fact the times where, like when I've just thrown her at it, it's worked in this. When I've done it in a combo,
Okay.
he goes into that animation while I'm in
Go
the
figure.
middle of doing it.
It's
So
annoying.
it's like that worked.
Okay. Well,
Do that.
fair enough.
Lift him up.
I have no sense of what the rules are for when you can or can't do a particular. Yeah, that's
But
bullshit.
there, like I tried doing it after throwing him, and instead he goes into that.
I do think it's unfortunate they don't like explain the tutorial, like the combos a little better. Like they're so loose that it's a little bit hard to tell like what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's a really big problem with like the enemies being too easy to kill. Is that like
Yeah.
you're supposed to develop the skills against easier enemies, then you then translate onto the hard boss. But unfortunately, one of the difficulty differences between the hard boss and the easy enemies is that you get railing kills off the easy enemies,
Yeah,
so you
no.
never like learn.
I think you are absolutely correct there. That like I kept everyone feeling like those fights were too short, and I wasn't getting enough chance to get a good feel for things. Now, a lot of this, like, I'm sure I'd be loaning this much better if it was just
I'm
me
sure.
playing. The
I
fact that
think
we're
they're-
trading back and forth does make loaning a lot harder in a game.
I think they're trying to balance that by being like, well, you fight this guy
Well,
5
apparently
times.
I was one strike away all that time.
Nice.
Can't hear you.
And you're an ugly mother too. What?
That's not
It's
how
so
that
weird
insult
playing
works.
this game with Nathan Drake. Oh, that's covered, so I can't use it yet.
Guess you'll just have to heal the node.
Oh, yeah. Forgot that's what this meant.
I think Watch Dogs 2
Press the
was the
princess
game that
button.
I was most like, I would be into this if you weren't so required to be so violent in it.
Yeah.
It looked like it had some fun stuff, like hacking people's phones to like irritate them or distract them to get by them, but then like your default, like you're close to someone thing is to like pull out a hard object and beat them unconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I'm more okay with that, like when it doesn't feel incongruous, but like you have to like really make it work. The thing I keep coming back to is Prototype, which is just a game where you're straight up a super villain who gets like more and more lost inside his own head, and like as a result is just like killing people by accident. And like that feels reasonable.
Yeah.
This guy
it's-
is lost in his own head, and he is just accidentally trampling people to
Yeah,
death left and right.
I think it's the like trying to duplicate a somewhat realistic San Francisco that was the problem. for me
Yeah.
there. If it had been set
Yeah.
in some bizarre world where, you know, murder was a lot more normal, I wouldn't have blinked.
Watch Dogs 2 also feels a little bit weird. It's like, oh, I'm trying to stop the big oppressive corporation. It's like, yeah, is the corporation walking around and beating people with a blackjack? That was a similar thing with like Mirror's. So with Mirror's Edge, they're trying to do a story thing where you are just the poor courier trying to relay information across the city, and yet the cops are just trying to straight up murder you. However, if you play the game the way they intended, you've killed like 8 cops by the time.
but they're cops, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but you can understand why the police force would like go nuts, like shooting you from a helicopter if you'd already killed 8 police officers. Like, let's never mind even like the moral aspects of use of force by a police force. Just it makes rational sense why they would be wanting to use ranged weapons against you, maybe?
I think you're correct that
You
it probably
understand
would
why
have
they're
sold the
mad.
oppression a little bit better if, like, they were like unambiguously in the wrong.
I mean, I don't know. Mirror's Edge is actually kind of interesting if you imagine that your character is not the good guy, but that's not what the text tells you.
I don't think I really want to imagine a world where the corporate dystopia is the good guy.
I'm really curious about the upcoming Watchdog that's being made here in Toronto. It's got the guy who did Far Cry 2, a game I have not played, but I'm pretty sure I would like a lot.
Can you just wall run over there? Or
I especially
ceiling run?
think you would like it now that there are mods to make combat less frequent. Because, yeah, I think a lot of people who played it when it came out said like the combat is fun, but it's just constant. And so like the
This
mods.
is Far Cry 2.
Yeah, the mods that make it so like, oh, once like an area has been cleared out of people, it takes a while for new enemies to move into it. Apparently, make it a lot more enjoyable.
I'm just so sick of shooting people. Just like deeply bored with it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it would. I'm not sure if it would grab people the same way it did at the time if it were to come out now.
I played Tribes in 1998. I'm like, all right, that's enough guns. I'm done with guns. I don't ever need to play a video game with a gun again.
But no, Watchdog, the new one that's being worked on, they have a bunch of people who do like procedural narrative stuff working on it and such.
There was this really weird moment when the game got announced. Like a bunch of people who were like, you would not expect to be working on like one of these big Ubisoft type titles. Like, we're like, oh, by the way, I've been on this for 6 months.
No, I'm really hoping that they come up with something that is as interesting now as all of your guns are terrible and they jam all the time and you have malaria was at the time when that game came out.
Okay, that is compelling.
And that also, like, it had a bunch of systemic stuff as well. Like, it had the "oh no, I've started a fire" type problems.
Yeah, where the fire was initially so realistic that you could cause a brush fire that was as big as the entire map.
That's forward thinking, apparently.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, you could end the game by setting the entire game on fire in an early build, I hear.
Maybe they should have stuck with that.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out whether I need to go back or forward from here.
Hey, here's a question. What is that shining on?
Yeah, the void. It's
Oh.
shining on the void. I just realized it's somebody else's turn because I
Sure.
just completed a thing.
Christine, you haven't played in a bit. Do you want to play?
Sure. I could do it.
I would love to play, but also you haven't gotten a chance, so.
Yeah, my understanding is Far Cry 2 did a bunch of really interesting stuff, and they dialed all of that back immediately.
Point of order,
on all the sequels.
did we set a waypoint?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we didn't.
I was just collecting orbs.
Orb.
To collect an orb.
Orb.
So yeah, I think he's one of those people who was like the designer on that was like lost in the wilderness after that, like was briefly at Valve, was briefly at... It looked like he was going to be another, like, the main Thief dev who has still yet to make another game that he is, like, lead on because of things being canceled and traveling from
my sense is
place
that,
to place.
is that he's been a lead on several games that almost got made.
It is, I think, extremely hard to make very systemic AAA games. It's a very risky design space, and... the fact that people who've done it well once often end up in that sort of wilderness.
I was reading earlier today about how, like...
Oh, man. Oh, saved it.
I was reading earlier today about how Kojima intentionally made a rule that he's not going to allow the new Kojima Productions to grow beyond a certain number of employees. Because he was... I forget what the other game was, but he was talking to some other game dev team that was like making slightly smaller games with slightly smaller teams, and he got impressed by like something, level of focus or something.
I honestly, like, I miss Kojima with smaller budgets.
Well, I mean, that's
Yeah, for
Death
sure.
Stranding. Or do
No.
you mean even smaller?
It's even smaller.
You want a new Police Knots.
No.
At the top of that window.
Nobody wants police knots.
We'll have to try somewhere
Except
else.
M108.
No, I really like the early Metal Gears with how focused they were, yet having a ton of interesting systemic stuff.
Hey, here's a question. Have you ever played... Oh, can we go through here? No. Have you ever played the MSX Metal Gear 2?
I've only played through the first MSX one. I've played a teeny bit of number 2. My understanding is that basically the first Metal Gear Solid is largely a remake of that one in 3D.
Interesting.
Like, there's both story beats and a bunch of gameplay beats that are just straight out of that one.
Out of the first Metal Gear.
Out of the second Metal Gear.
Yeah,
So
I think I watched
MSX Metal Gear 1. So MSX Metal Gear 2 and Metal Gear Solid 1 are very similar gameplay-wise from what I hear.
Yeah, I watched
We'll have to go round the
what is her
outside.
name from Kotaku playing both of those, and yeah, there's a lot of like they're not one-to-one, but there's a lot of like specific set pieces that he clearly found interesting and didn't think enough people had seen.
Yeah, since that never came out in North America, it was basically all brand new content that he could like improve on.
Now I'm not sure what it was that I saw. 'Cause
Okay, finally we're getting some interesting stuff in the chains of the red plates at least.
Yeah, I think that I like the red plates better than the yellow
I once
plates.
thought about settling down, milling flour. For
Really?
Are you kidding? How boring would that be?
More of this, please.
See, like I think like some of it's good.
I think I like about the red plates is
Those plates are behind
Oh
those
fuck
gears up
this.
Puzzle.
Cranks and gears and cranks. Isn't there just something we can hit to make it work?
there. Why don't you try moving those cranks?
Okay, so here's the thing. You shouldn't make a joke about how annoying it is to interact with your game.
Uncharted
fuck
1
this
going,
shit.
man, these guys keep coming.
Okay, I'm ready.
Have you ever heard?
Night Del Sol saying Boktai is probably my favorite Kojima game. I think he's producer on it, but it so clearly has his DNA all over it. I love Boktai. It's one that I
what
really
the
want us to find a way to
fuck?
stream.
No one would ever build a machine like this.
Saying his
ever.
DNA is all over it is a pretty gross way of putting that, I have to say.
Yep. He's also kind of a gross man.
Wow, I hate this
It's
puzzle.
removed. This is just going to take a little patience.
Oh God. There's a difference between a 180 and a 45 degree.
Oh god, okay.
Yeah, we've had two ideas about Boktai. One is, yes, we have a sun lamp. The other is we figure out a way to hack it so that the sun is controlled by chat. Christine spent a bit of time trying to see if she could get that
Couldn't
working.
get it working, but
We should do it where, like, in order for it to work, the chat has to keep making dad jokes.
Yeah, well, you have me here now, so you can just give me the control and I can watch chat and physically adjust the sun lamp up
That's
and
true.
down.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Mechanical circuit.
I am.
The story that Kojima wanted Boktai to also have a sensor that could detect what your breath smelled like.
God. Please let Kojima make video games.
I think it was like around MGS2 period. I think he wanted a controller that could either sense or create hot and cold.
Jesus.
I'm sad that he never made a Wii game, because he would have made a really good Wii game.
The one of the things that Intel tried to give me along with my recent graphics card purchase was a game that has biofeedback sensors and becomes more scary the more afraid it thinks you are, which seems backwards to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a hand here.
I think some GBA emulators have solar meter adjustment feature. Yeah,
They
there are-
don't, but there are like ROM hacks that will like let you put on a key, which is what we were thinking.
Yeah.
Of.
No, I've definitely played a little bit of it emulated and most of it the proper way.
I fucking hate this.
Boktai has a great feature where it teaches children about the danger of compound interest. It's very clearly made to be a educational game for kids. Like, it has the you should spend time in sunlight. It has block pushing puzzles that involve math.
If you have any clue how to do,
I have played.
like I understand the rules here, I just don't.
There's an old Mac game
I
called
can't
3 and
rotate cubes in my head.
There's an
I've-
old
I've
Mac
failed.
game called 3 and 3 that was just a series of obfuscated Rubik's Cube puzzles, and as a result of having played that, I now. Okay, hold on a second.
This fucking sucks. I don't even want to look at it.
So yeah, the Sunbank and Boktai for people who haven't
No.
played it. Basically, you could take a loan of sunlight out to power your gun. But with the real world clock, you'd have to pay it back eventually. And the longer you spent not paying it back, it would build up compoundly. And if you couldn't pay it back eventually, the bank would force you to do a really tiring, dull mini game for long periods of time. You basically had to do it through you'd have to work off your debt on like a treadmill generating power.
Incidentally, I don't think these puzzles are all that bad, but I literally do not understand how you operate these cranks. I just walk up to one and then I start pressing random buttons until it does something I want.
That form of payment reminds me of the car racing game where I was worried about running out of money because you have to pay for any damage you do to your car in any race that you do, and eventually if you run out of money enough, you just have to wash people's cars for a while until you can afford to enter a cheap race again.
That stuff
Back,
is...
have you finished rotating things in
No.
your head yet?
Yes. I have.
That's it.
Wow,
get up.
incredible. If I ever need something rotated, I'll ask you.
Gears and cranks. You know, most of the temples I've visited had punji sticks. The occasional fake wall, maybe some guards.
MGBA has a solar sensor emulator setting. You can assign buttons to mean increase, decrease sunlight.
Did the job well.
No?
Interesting.
Yeah, no, now with Persia we could do a Boktai run where
Yeah.
Perish just has a second keyboard and is controlling our sunlight.
Oh, no, that was not the place I wanted to.
So I was going to say a thing that I like about the red pad. You unlock the red pads. You're clearly supposed to use the red pads. Like you jump to that one, and that's the one, and it'll stick you to another.
I suppose so.
Boktai also has the great thing that because of the real-time clock, each enemy type has a time that it likes to go to sleep.
Oh my god, I love
So
it.
if you like, you're like, oh man, I can't stand cockatrices. I'm gonna like do this dungeon at 2 a.m.
That's wonderful.
There's a bunch of ideas in it that I would love to like try doing some game design around. It's a fantastic game.
It is interesting, like, when they briefly show you that camera angle, you're like, oh yeah, this is just the 2D game with, Fine, nailed it. Fine, meant to do that.
We're lucky.
I had it under control.
We know someone who has a sewing machine. And keep meaning I should get in touch. She was going to bring it by sometime for us to check out. Is there a way to speedrun anything on the sewing machine?
I don't know.
You're failing us, Andy. This is the
Yeah, I
type of
really
thing I
want to write
expect you
code
to
that
know.
uses the sewing machine. I don't know. So that's interesting. I like that as a timing puzzle.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
I wish I could tell where I'm supposed to go though.
Ada Adorable says, oh, speaking of Game Boy add-ons, I spent the weekend at Mystery Hunt getting a Game Boy printer to work with output from a computer.
That's really impressive. That's like, I know the serial format is like kind of weird. And like hard to test.
This puzzle makes you hit the desk.
3 and 3 was a really good game. All right, so
This sucks, man.
how do I move?
Stop wasting my time.
I love that you each have something that stops you from wanting to do these puzzles, and it is different interactions.
Patience brings rewards.
So does walking into a harem covered in chocolate.
What gave me the idea for the time limiting section in analog? It's
They had to make it this complicated.
it's straight up a remake of a segment from Digital Love Story where you get a computer virus and you have to upgrade your firmware.
Wait a second, are they having a conversation about how bad this puzzle is?
They are. I really wish you could just exit out of. Wait, did I get out? Did I get out of that one somehow?
I
No,
think
it just
no, it's
ended.
over.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Christine.
No, that was it. It's just it was just a version of that felt interesting. Part of what something I was really cognizant of while working on analog was just the idea that it's, you know, like
Turn it.
that like it's got puzzle aspects, and I think I don't know, they're not necessarily the strongest aspect, but I think they like. Oh, there was one thing about that, like the specific puzzles in analog. I actually do remember why now. Sorry, it's been 9 years since I made analog, so
Oh my god.
okay. So let's not think about that part. Let's just move on from that part. But part of it was
Yeah, that was like when we would like just first met. Pretty much. Like we'd met a few times before that.
just
briefly.
barely, yeah.
Can I talk about how bad the play control is on these puzzles?
Yeah, it sucks. I don't like it.
I could have gotten this done in like seconds if I just had like a mouse.
Yeah, I don't mind this type of puzzle, but having to navigate this type of puzzle this slowly.
I press up, nothing happens. I wait 3 seconds, I press up again. Wait, did I not have it?
Anyway, no, you got it. You did it. It's done. Part of the thing is that like because most of analog takes place in the past, I was worried that like about people who are long dead. I was worried that there'd be like a distancing effect that would like mean that players don't quite get into it. So the reason why there's like the puzzles that take place in the present and specifically like that disaster segment where like if you don't fix the computer in 30 minutes or whatever it is, your ship explodes. Part of it is like I wanted to like have something that put the player in the moment to make them feel like they were like, you know, part of the story, because otherwise, you know, you're just reading about stuff that happened to a bunch of people who are long dead.
I told you I got to that segment after I'd ordered pizza, and then the pizza arrived, and so I actually had it was down to the last minute.
Amazing.
Because I'd had to stop and grab pizza and had no way to pause.
Oh my god, can you not pause during that segment?
Maybe you can.
I don't remember. It's possible I didn't test that.
By the way, I just want to note in that last segment they broke one of their own design rules. Usually a tilted piece of ground means you slide on it, but not that time.
They also show like sand flowing though.
Yeah, usually there's some additional visual.
Like I don't think it's just that.
Ada Adorable, the GB printer was actually pretty easy because someone else worked out the format.
Oh.
I just needed to fix all the Go code they did wrong.
I think I might know the person who did that.
Who do we know that has the sewing machine?
Ken from Hand-Eye.
Okay.
He organizes a lot of the tech stuff for Hand-Eye.
So once we beat this one, we've got like the real boss, right?
I don't actually know what comes after this.
Fair.
Do not weaken.
Oh,
I like how
the combo got killed by this wall.
I like how she's standing right behind you all the time, making like kung fu poses, even though she's not helping at all.
Well, she's normally more helpful.
By the way, has anyone else noticed that this guy, like, while he's standing still, just makes all these like growling, grunting noises, but his lips aren't moving at all?
he has lips?
He doesn't have lips, but he's making noises that are typical of, like, wolf faces. There's, like, some just random-ass coyote noises in there, I don't know. Yeah!
Stay back.
Oh. See, Christine makes the combat look easy.
I'm kind of struggling here, honestly.
By the way, the thing, Miguel, the thing that got me to the point where I could actually do the QTEs consistently, you actually have a very long time
The
to complete
window
them.
is nuts.
Yeah, the window is
It's
really long.
really huge.
So I actually make a point of, I don't let myself hit a button. I like stop, interpret the symbol, and then press it. And then it's actually not so hard.
Oh, is that a dramatic QT for the... No. Okay. I was wondering if it was for the killing blow, but it's not. It's just one.
It's running away.
Heh. Wonder how hard it is to program a Jacquard loom.
We better get to run on one of those.
You have to make it.
What is that a response to?
Look around you. We could die in the next 5 minutes. Then where would waiting have got you? I'd rather die trying than waiting.
Maybe you're right. If you want something, if you really want something, you shouldn't wait.
Yeah?
So, what are we waiting for?
That was good, but it also
That gate is
felt...
opened.
Is that a good thing?
We can enter the corrupted sanctuary.
And once we heal the fertile ground there...
There is no fertile ground. The essence of that place will rest inside the corrupted.
And they're just gonna let us take it. Much more of this, and I'm gonna have to stop and sharpen this sword.
Go on.
I think. Yeah.
But I think this is going to directly dump me into... If I go through that door and it's just a boss fight, I'm handing it right back to you.
Okay.
I'll take a crack at it. I'm trying to get better at the combat.
Okay. I'm not. I respect what they're doing with the combat, but it's not the same as wanting to play it. Okay.
Black gate is opened. Is that good?
Well,
It's
it does
also-
mean that Guardian has been let loose on Britannia, so...
Are we okay?
200 generations of Ura gave their lives to stop Ahriman returning. I have their strength as well as mine.
Yeah? Any chance I can borrow some?
Not bad. I like how she said the black gate is open, but she actually means it's unlocked. Oh, that's pretty cool. And not the fire.
Like, if they wanted to lean into the idea of him being a ladies' man, that would be an excellent opportunity for a dirty joke. I feel like "Can I borrow some?" is pretty weak sauce as far as quips go.
I'm a neighbor. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Like, if it had been like something along the lines of like, it's like, wow, and I thought one generation of you was enough, or like, you know, something riffing off that.
What the hey?
No, that last bit, like, there's a thing where the scenes are well written, but also don't stick together well.
Yeah.
So, like, oh, great.
Oh, that's good, that's good, that's good. Okay, so in order to complete this block of 4 levels, you had to have both the red and the yellow, and that means that when you get through it, it gives you a segment where you use red plus yellow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And one
Okay.
assumes that, like,
You got to jump on the ghost
Unfortunately,
platform
they're pretty
to
similar,
get to the
so it
grind
doesn't-
work.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm curious to see when we get to the green and the green and the blue if those are actually good mechanics.
I feel like if you're doing like ghost platforms or something, like a fun thing to do would be like if they were like different architectural styles, like these are the ones made by, you know, the original ancient
good.
civilization. These are the platforms laid down by the guys who just dropped in and put down some temporary scaffolding. Here's like the far future civilization that put down their whatever.
Yeah, it's good.
Like you could have like multiple very different design schools at work.
One problem with the move out of the way of things is that you have no depth perception, and there's nothing like shadows because they're not honoring any particular. Anyway,
Which is fine art direction wise, but not in this case.
it means that like I saw something coming, aha, it'll hit down, and then I realized it was about 10 feet ahead of where I thought I was.
Yeah.
Also, these fucking quick turns are a problem. Oh, that is extremely a room where you fight someone. He's just standing there here.
They're saying about that scene, like that scene was good, but like they'd never set up this thing of her not
Yeah.
not wanting to like not being someone who was active and did things.
Clearly, someone wrote a script with like 4 different lines, and that's the final one. But we just skipped everything leading up to it because every time we hit the dialogue button, it just wanted to talk about the puzzle.
I think the dialogue button is just like not. I think in
You still
like
have a chance.
the idea of it being like being able to control the story that you get
Yeah.
is good, but in practice,
It would have been
doesn't
better if
actually-
it was doing those things while we were running around.
agreed. I wonder if they like if it turned out it was distracting.
I think a theory that we were playing with last week was that they just didn't have the whole talking while moving tech developed.
Oh yeah. And like one of the things is that writing for dynamic or non-linear games is really difficult.
I was watching someone, Nina Freeman, playing through Deadly Premonition. Deadly Premonition, and I like the fact that they give the main character an imaginary friend, so that you can talk to other people if they're in the car with you, but if you ever drive somewhere by yourself, it can still have a conversation. Yeah.
That's good. That's actually really good.
Like I feel like the thing about non-linear like non-linear narrative.
Every time I try to combo into her, she goes down. I was like in the middle of hitting.
I think that's because he was in the blue stage.
What? I don't think he was.
He was in the blue
now.
state.
Okay.
Ooh.
But like a lot of writing is like knowing like you have a beat that you want to hit, therefore you need to set it up in a certain way, therefore you need 2 beats setting up that, and having
Whoa, what
anything
happened there?
dynamic means that you need to be able to hit those in any order. And
What did I just smash? Does anyone know what I just smashed?
If you look, there's some pillars
Oh, okay. I
around.
smashed one of the pillars.
By the way, I just noticed something, which is that he spits black goo at Jake's face, and at the moment it makes contact with
not
his
his name.
face, it hits the monitor, which is a little odd.
You won't become his trophy.
They're doing something complicated with the colors in the scene that I don't understand.
And like one of the things you can do with nonlinear narratives is that like you can silo everything so that that way you just don't have to worry about the continuity, but that means that doesn't work in any instance where you need to have like a character arc between bits that are siloed. It's like for example, like going back to the analog example, you have all these log files in the past and everyone's story is like neatly contained, and therefore it's easy to put those in whatever order you feel like. But all the present bits have a linear through line. And I think there's something similar going on here. I'm not entirely sure what the structure looks like, but
I think there's
the
like
problem is you can't tell like what of her you know, her
What are the
thoughts
things
on.
are because we're far into the story, and what things are because
Yeah.
we're in this location?
Yeah, and
I think there's actually a little
they're
of A,
definitely tonally different.
I think there's a little of A, a little of B, which is interesting, but it also causes problems because like sometimes. So I have a theory that there's like there's like a dialogue sequences that are per area and dialogue sequences that are just over time you go through these
Definitely.
things. But like I think it's possible for like one to step on the other.
Yeah,
So,
once
like-
I throw him in the air, if I'm getting rid of that, you cannot actually counter that with her.
So when I've been putting him in the air, I've been following up by jumping and then attacking.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, if I
snap.
try using her, it does not work.
You could jump during a battle. That's wild.
Could do with some help here.
One thing I'll notice is you mentioned the thing about like if things can be in any order, then you can't set things up. They're also hitting this opposite problem of like they clearly have lines that always happen in the same order, but they don't know where they're going to happen. And that means they're all vaguely non-specific.
Yeah.
Must move.
Oh, backseat fighting, lady. So sick of the quick times.
I feel like if you're nervous about writing, there's really only one solution, and it's practice.
Or to never write anything.
Miguel, no, bad. Don't make me get the spray bottle.
The fight's not over.
I'm being helpful.
Are you though? Like it really is just a case of, you just gotta write a lot of bad words, and eventually they turn out pretty well. In the same, like, my biggest thing was doing NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, where you just turn out a 50,000 word novel in the month of November. In order to keep up with that, you have to write about 1,600 words a day, and nearly all of them will be shit. But after you've done enough of them, eventually you start to get the hang of it. And really, the biggest thing is first drafts are often, it's better to have words on the page and then you can make them good later. That is often the hardest thing, is just getting it down.
What's she doing?
Yeah, no, I hate to
Oh.
write, and I love to edit other people's writing.
Oh, I love editing.
Fortunately, Joanna does not like editing and
Nice.
is better at writing than me, so it works out when we have to write something together.
Well, it's a good partnership.
Yeah, nice.
I keep on trying to like block with these really precise windows,
Yeah.
and I really should be blocking way earlier.
Yep.
Hey, what's on fire?
I think also every time you block, you can follow up with an attack.
Nope. You give bad advice.
I'm not sure how that works then.
With it, I think that if you see the block at the bottom of the screen, that's a reward. I think it wants you to like block, attack, block, and then on like the second or third you get through. I think like it's imagining
I've
button
got to like
sequences.
block several times, and then maybe it gives me an opening.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was doing that one of the earlier battles. Like, it's really unfortunate. Okay, if you see one of those at the bottom of the screen, that means you messed up.
Yeah,
But I think if
I
you
know.
see the gray one at the bottom of the screen, that's a reward. That means, no, you're doing it right. Keep going, keep going. Which is very confusing.
Yeah, like writing is really just a skill that just like, it takes practice. Let me tell you, my writing when I started also was not great.
There's a game that Christine made before digital.
I didn't write anything before digital. What are you talking about?
And I'm not going to say the name because you're going to go on the same journey I did, but I found out about this game, like, that sounds adorable. I really want to play this. And Christine's like, you don't want to play it, the writing's really bad.
Please don't.
And I'm like, no, I really
Parrish,
want
start
to.
looking this up and leak it in chat.
I didn't believe
Please
her.
don't leak the thing that I made.
I'm
I
not-
don't even know what you're talking about. I assume
She
this
was
is
a
something that I made when I
literal-
was 17.
She was a literal high schooler. Anyway, the point is that, like, for years I was wanting to find this game so I could, like, and she kept saying, no, it's awful, but she says everything she writes is awful. So I'm like, it must
Well, I
be
mean,
really...
that's also true, but
It must be really secretly great if Christine says it's awful. So after years, I dug it up, I found a computer that could still run the executable, I ran it, and the writing was actually pretty bad. I'm gonna be honest, they didn't make it very far in. I was like, whoa, okay, this time Christine said that her old game was terrible, and she was right. Keen says it's quite a miracle Christine is admitting to making digital now. No, Christine is so down on digital. Every time I mention how much I like digital, she gets really upset.
We all make mistakes. It's really frustrating. Man, I've replayed that game and I'm like, what the fuck is this puzzle? I have no idea what to do and I made it.
I remember
that was-
not solving the bug in it and just playing while reading through things.
I played it relatively recently, and I found it pretty breezy.
You might be more patient with bad design than I am.
Turns out you not only don't like puzzles in games, you don't like your own puzzles in games.
Also, I just noticed Kira's in chat. So hi, Kira.
He's too far away.
What?
Yeah, I do find it amusing that Miguel's trying to get
Yeah,
me to
see?
trying to get me to leak your game into chat when I have copies of all of the comics that he made when
Oh
he
god,
was in high school.
never mind. Abort.
That was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I said nothing.
Whee! Just put some
The
platforming.
gray
in.
when you're gonna die is a really smart bit of
I
design.
really like it a
It's
lot.
Also, do you notice that when it goes gray, it slows down just a little bit for a moment?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, the contrast between that really good signposting and the like hard to read buttons is
Yeah.
very stark.
By the way, something that's annoying me about the QTEs and the fights is that, like, at first I thought the idea was supposed to be like something's happening and this is how you get out of it, right? Like, if the gauntlet button comes up, it's like, oh, in order to escape from this attack, you need to use your gauntlet. But one of them is the girl button, and when you use the girl button to get out of
Her saving you and her saving you because you failed, both being a state and being different states, is kind of weird.
it is, but you notice that, like, when you press the girl button to save yourself, she doesn't get involved at all.
I guess because they realized that that was a problem, but yet the picture is still do magic thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
It makes me wonder if any of the blocks have anything to do with which button you press.
Stone floor. Looks like you've run out of places.
Miss Andare, here's the thing. Miguel has been making a lot of different types of curries lately, and this is like our first time trying out a lot of these recipes. And Instant Pot recipes are kind of vague about certain amounts of time, like how long it takes for the Instant Pot to both reach pressure and like depressurize.
The depressurization is a real wild card.
What's the thing somebody's asking about?
Somebody asked,
When I tweet that the stream is late because the curry is taking longer than expected, it is because the curry is taking longer than expected.
Oh, they thought
It
that
is.
was an excuse.
it's literal curry.
Or maybe just a joke. But no, it's 100%
not,
literal
Yeah.
truth.
No, it's... Oh, I guess this isn't
Also,
gonna...
there's like a lot of spices you have to stage sometimes.
This one was easy because you just throw everything in the pot. Usually we're like, okay, stage 1 spices go in now. Okay, now we put in stage 2 spices.
But there still was the thing where, like, you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, depressurize. Oh, depressurize, like, naturally over an hour.
I mean, to be fair, the curry was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
there's
paneer was just.
over the last 6 months, there's definitely a correlation between the stream starts on time and we were having noodles that evening.
Exception when it's ramen, which can also get complicated.
Right. Myth and Dare in chat
Just a
says,
lot of stuff to cut.
staging, pressurization, this isn't rocket science here.
Don't let up.
What is bulgogi?
Bulgogi is really tasty.
What? I thought it was. That was made.
It can have meat.
What
It doesn't have
what
to
is she
have meat.
doing?
It doesn't have to have meat, I don't think.
Okay. I did not.
Isn't it simply, wait, I might be getting two different things mixed up. I
Am I
thought
thinking of bibimbap?
Yeah, it literally
I'm thinking
means
bibimbap.
fire meat, so
So I'm thinking
probably
bibimbap.
requires
Yeah.
meat.
I was thinking bibimbap.
That's why we were both giving you a weird look.
I don't know what you've been ordering, but I don't think you can eat it.
I was thinking of bibimbap, which
Oh.
I would like to be able to make.
A problem with this game's idiom is that the reason that they gave you these insta restarts is because they figured out that repeating things is frustrating. But instead, the problem is that like the failure mode isn't you have to repeat a lot. The failure mode is this fight takes fucking forever.
I do think in general these fights are too long. Just some fights are too short, others are too long. It's a problem. I'm
It doesn't
actually
feel
they
like I'm
haven't hit
failing.
the sweet spot.
Oh. It doesn't feel like I'm failing, so the tendency to like buckle down and really concentrate
Yeah,
just
that
never
might be a
hits.
problem.
Yeah.
Because like you have in fact been doing very badly.
But it doesn't.
But it's not
feel like
communicating. Yeah, it
Yeah.
might
Turns
not be doing
out
a
the
good
boss
enough
run
job.
was necessary motivation all along.
Like instead of like failure states, they just fail to give you success states. And there's not really positive feedback when you really connect, right? Like a little bar at the bottom goes slightly down.
Yeah, I honestly between this is a good.
Well, I mean, that's
cutscene,
because
this
you're
is
not doing good combos.
this is a good cutscene. This is a bad cutscene. Stuff in the middle of the fights makes it very hard to tell when
Yeah.
you're like got the upper hand.
I'd love it if you got to chop bits off, and when you failed, they stuck them back on.
Nice.
That'd be a good way of doing it.
I am getting like actual headaches from like this. It's just like watching these fights is just like flash, 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 like loud piercing noise, and the
The
entire
entire
time
screen
flashes.
goes white. Yeah,
It's not great.
it's frustrating because I feel like a lot of this is almost there
Yeah.
for me, but it's.
Yeah.
I like a lot of it conceptually, but it's not actually.
I should be doing some grabs. Now I could.
Also, there's a problem where every time you hit the edge, you can't like keep your combo going.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can play this game without looking at the screen.
I don't think so, but I don't do that right. That was the right button.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
Yes, that was the her helping you button.
Oh, because she ran by after. That's confusing.
No, it's just like it gives you a random QT and then it gives you an animation based off that random button that it gave you.
Okay.
Oh,
I guess I didn't notice at first she was even involved in her QTEs.
She is, but it's unfortunate that it gives you a QT with her because
She's also
Yeah.
your.
she's the failure state. Like whenever she grabs you like that, that's her pulling you out of
Yeah.
danger. That's bad.
Yeah, that is the
That is
fail.
you
It
fucked
healed
up
a
and now
bit.
the enemy's gonna recover health. But that's not necessarily clear. It's not well communicated.
It comes down to a recurring problem of like they signal things in very like interesting, unusual ways in this game, but some of them are ambiguous.
And then yeah, I threw him into the combo, and so I lost it.
Eon-S, the reason you don't get anything for winning the QTE is that it's like failing the QTE. Like the QTE is your last chance before failure, unless it's a block QTE in the center of the screen, in which case something completely unrelated is going on.
That we
There is
don't entirely understand, to be honest. We've got a bunch of theories.
Eon, there is a penalty for dying. When you die, you go into this like meh state where you can't move very quickly.
I had a trick.
You
that was-
can die, but it can recover the enemy's health. That's what happens when you fail that QTE, is that the enemy regains some health.
So I figured out a really good way to throw him.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know
Now
if
that he's
throwing
dead.
is that.
Yeah, it worked for finishing.
Whoa. Whoa. That was kind of hardcore.
Armin will never return. I promise you.
I'm sure he's okay. That seemed survivable.
Orb. Oh, no, sorry. No orb.
We'd better get out of here.
Is this a timed escape sequence?
It might be.
That would be so cool.
Oh, but I can talk to her
Make them
first.
explode?
Let's get out of here.
Is there anything here that's not falling apart?
We have to get to the plates.
Did you have to destroy the place too? How do we get out of here? This is as good a place to stand around as any. I couldn't find my own ass in the sand. I'm really starting to feel it. Back row, could you?
That's right. I couldn't.
Armin's supposed to be a legend. Stones, empty lands. Place is full of ghosts. No traveling, have thrills, seek adventure. Never tell you about this stuff. We make quite a team, you and I.
This is amazing. I'm sorry. I can't stop.
I'm gonna wear this.
This is not just Warcraft in space.
Oh, you know, I found it. Heard of magic, talked about magic. Never seen it before. I should have listened more to my mother. Corruption, corruption, corruption. No, Armin's not really into variety, is he? I was gonna settle down.
Miguel, please leave. This place sucks.
You were there.
So was that one of the recurring enemies that just got killed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will that
that's-
change? Does that mean the order that you do these in will change who you face
No,
in the
no.
remaining areas?
No, if you look carefully. So the
They're
problem is
tied to an area.
you do them in a really weird order. So the idea is that there's like a group of four, a group of four, a group of four,
Yeah.
a group of four. All of the four on the left are fighting the
These
hunter.
were all dealing with him.
Yeah.
It's just that we've been going between a bunch.
Okay.
And
because
then
you're
that
required
was
to.
finishing him off.
All right. All right.
So all of these will be dealing with the enemy for this area, and then that will be finishing.
Ah, okay.
him
And
off.
those first four before you got into them, probably each of those was one of them as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you have to do all four of those starting areas before you can do anything else.
Which is why we got all the
Yeah.
bosses
Yeah.
first.
Okay.
And they
that's-
introduced the four
I'm,
characters. in
I'm,
those
I'm a
four.
little disappointed. I was kind of hoping that they would that the order might actually change how the later levels went,
No,
and they would
it's-
swap in stronger versions of the people who still existed or something.
No.
It's like the most structured variation of the Metroidvania.
I mean, like, also the bosses do interact with the environments. Like,
Yeah.
But
No,
there
they
is
have
a
to be.
there is a thing where I think
Oh,
that
yeah, double jump.
so you do 4 fights with the hunter, but you can do them in any order. And I think I'm not certain, but I think that those 4 are like the first hunter fight is always the easiest. The 4th hunter fight is
that
always
seems
the
pretty
farthest.
likely.
But
'Cause,
they
yeah,
can happen
just
at different
add
places.
a new move each time, or a
Yeah.
new.
Maybe you have to
I have
girl
to double jump.
Yeah.
I'm just that
Double
problem of talking and
Yeah, sorry.
playing.
Double jump is now called girl jump.
Not just in this game, in every game.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the problems that their banter has, and this is just a problem inherent in any sort of long-form romantic comedy, is that the thing that makes it work is tension, but the longer it goes on, the more familiar it gets. So it's often hard to, like... This is also the reason why you don't see a lot of married couples
Oh,
in,
they're
like,
breaking
romantic
stuff as you
fiction.
go around.
Is because, like, leaning on tension is just, like, a really easy way of getting that.
That actually made the writing in that one, The Last of Us segment kind of interesting, because it was like,
I think you're thinking of Uncharted, because
No? Okay.
Um,
Well, The Last of Us were like she's seeing her girlfriend, right?
oh, okay, yeah.
Because that was like an established couple instead of a.
It is, but there's still like an inherent tension there.
There's still tension because it's a couple that broke up.
Right, like there's a lot of romantic
We made
tension
it.
there.
We made it. Hey, don't go deserting me. Elika.
Wait, which couple that broke up in The Last of Us?
You had me worried there.
It was the healing.
We played Left Behind, remember?
Soul.
Yeah, they hadn't broken up. They were friends.
They got
Yeah, like they hadn't been
separated.
Yeah.
together in a while.
Hello in there.
But they hadn't been. They were
But
not.
but like they
dating.
hadn't like seen each other in
Yeah.
a while. Now that was the source of the
Yeah.
That
tension.
would be a bad thing in the right circumstances.
That's a test. If she doesn't slap you, she's really fucked up.
See, you're all right.
It was his time. The hunter wanted to hunt. He got what he
What are you
wanted.
responding to?
So, now you believe in destiny?
There's no god or stars controlling me, princess. I go where I want.
Miguel's controlling you.
Where should we go next?
That's pretty good.
See, that's good.
Yeah, see, like, but it has that same thing of like he doesn't believe in destiny thing, not super established before this.
No.
They're often running on a thing that is not been
There were
established.
lines like,
And it's
that,
weird 'cause,
it was a callback to an earlier line, but it's not one that's fresh in our minds. And that's
Yeah.
that's just a problem with games writing is that you don't necessarily know what the pacing of
Yeah, that's
the
true.
story you're experiencing is.
Another problem is all the callbacks are callbacks to like philosophical ideas. Like, do you believe in destiny or do you believe in waiting? Where it's like if they were talking about like the zombie mutants or something, you could kind of do the lines about the zombie mutants in any order. Awesome. I'm gonna collect orbs. We should decide how far we're gonna go.
I
'Cause
think we
were-
should go to around 11:30.
That sounds good. It's wherever we are then. So here's. Oh no! Go back.
No, the
Fall to the void.
I'm on. I'm on
the
it.
last of the Uncharted does have a married couple, but like kind of poorly separates them from most of it. But actually, the bit where they're together is great. Like
Okay.
it's one of the best bits in terms of like banter and stuff.
Good.
No, there's definitely like there are really good married couple dynamics, and like I always just want to see more of that because it can be really fun.
A problem with these two is they start bantering like they've known each other for years, like 10 minutes after they meet.
Yeah, no, that's it's.
Have we seen? I
that's
think we've seen
a
that
good way of
exact
putting it.
sequence of jumps before.
Yeah, we've been here before.
Oh, okay.
Which may not have been war.
Have
but-
any of you played Alan Wake?
No, I
No,
really
we-
want to.
we want-
Having played
I
Control.
want to before I play the Control DLC. But yeah, I'm actually I would half nominate Alan Wake for this stream.
Because I just played the first chapter of it,
Uh-huh.
and it starts with a married couple doing some stuff, and I
Interesting.
assumed that they would separate them because of those problems. And now that I'm beginning chapter 2 and it's doing more stuff with them, I'm wondering if it's gonna continue through the rest of the game.
That's cool. So because I've played so many Mario games, I've learned like, oops, I made a bad jump. I better double jump because that's my method of correction. But here, a double jump is just going to make your problems
Yeah,
worse.
this is why I like the double jump in this. It's not a correction.
Nice.
That is what I hate about the double jump.
The thing is, it also doesn't have what's interesting about the double jump, which is when double jump is not about just here is a longer jump, and this is just here is a longer
That is
jump.
true.
It's a longer jump, but like because the space is so carefully designed, longer jump is a verb.
Oh yeah, no.
Like it's almost like you're like spot the ring and spot the long gap are effectively the same challenge.
But that is though how most double jumps are used. And I think the actual interesting
Yeah.
thing double jumps is when you use them to change direction and therefore to get to places you could not physically get with a regular jump.
I do feel like you're using this example. I know you're thinking of Nit.
Knit and the stuff that I did in They Bleed Pixels.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
obviously I
and-
like
and-
it because I
and-
did a bunch of it.
Yeah, but like I
feel
don't
like
feel
the-
like there's a lot of other examples.
The problem with the double jump is eventually you just do it always. Whereas in this, if you do the double jump in the wrong place,
Yeah,
you
that's a
die.
good-
That's
yeah.
actually good. That like it's not just like
It's not just better jump.
double tap replaces tap. What am I missing here?
You just need to go longer.
Need to time it for it? Okay. Yeah,
That felt reasonable.
I got too used to the idea of like this is all scripted in the end, and I didn't realize like no, how long I hold it actually does matter. Oh shit, that was not fair. I could not see that thing when I did the initial jump off.
Really? I saw it.
Yeah, no, I saw that coming.
Like it's like this. I don't know. All right, so here's my pitch. We finish this up at the end of this week. Next week we do Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. The week after that we do original Prince of Persia in flashback. The week after that we do Dragon's Lair for the Atari 2600. Just like keep going backward in time.
I don't have Dragon's Lair for the
It's a
2600.
2600 version Dragon? How's that work?
It's completely different. It's not 26. It's either 2600 or C64 boot, but it's completely different.
Oh,
Like
I have
totally
the version
unrelated.
for
Okay, none of that was a-
XTs. It is on like 10 discs.
Wait, for the what?
IBM XT. Like,
Oh wow.
Right there.
You have an Atari XT?
no, IBM XT.
That's even wilder. Okay, yeah, I'm in.
I don't. I've got a 286. We'd
Oh
have to
my
set a camera
God.
aimed at it.
Anyway, we don't know what we're going to play next week. It's going to depend on how technically difficult it is to get stuff working.
Woo!
Before anyone else makes promises that we can't keep.
I'm almost certain the like 30-plus-year-old discs of Dragon's Lair do not work if I can dig them up.
Yeah, floppy disks are, they're dying.
Yeah, I gotta get mine out of storage and get them to Jason Scott.
It's probably too late already.
It's probably too late already. If that's the case, I should throw them away and stop paying for my storage locker.
What's this guy's deal again? Is he's this teleporty guy?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe?
He's the guy who makes you go, oh ho ho, I'm the fucking wizard.
Oh, God, yeah, now there's two states. How do I tell which state is which?
If it's
It's the same as before.
blue means hit with sword, big wave of black behind means grab.
Oh,
This is the same as every other one has worked. It's not new.
If you want to do an easy way to get a grab in, go into your defense posture. Go into defense.
yeah.
Then use your A to do a roll to the side and then grab out of that.
Whoa, you can do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That explains if she's saying
It
things that you have to keep
tutorializes this
moving.
every time we do this fight. I don't know why, other than clearly in playtesting, people kept forgetting.
Unfortunately, the enemies are kind of blue tinted as it is.
Yeah.
Like, it is obvious once you know to look for it,
Yeah.
but I think another color would have been better.
I have literally not made a single hit. Does anyone else want to try this?
I'll give it another go and then I'll pass it to Christine so she can do it quickly. I just want to see if, because I just figured out that roll trick.
If you have stuff on CDRs, get it off right now.
Good stuff, Flakes.
I need to do that actually with some old portfolio
It is
stuff.
again, like, they might already be dead, so, like, do it immediately.
Also, audio reels can demagnetize. There's a thing where like NASA has a ton of stuff on old reels, but they have to periodically take them out and re-spool them in the opposite direction.
Oh my
Because the
God.
problem is that like the magnetism on like
What? When
I
did we
don't
get a
think-
Guam?
They're not tutorializing on every boss because they do know, like, what order you're doing these bosses in. They add new mechanics based on how many times you fought them.
Oh, I've got to do the...
It really is just, they must have found in playtesting that people were forgetting these basic mechanics.
It's just this, it's not that you do worse, you do nothing. If you
Yep.
don't get them right.
Yeah, which is good. I think
Yeah,
it
no.
should be total failure, otherwise, like, you just be banging your head even harder.
I propose that we play Dragon's Lair on the Game Boy Color
oh god.
because the original Dragon's Lair arcade system ran on a Z80, so I think that the Game Boy Color version is clearly the most true to that experience.
Check how different an IBM XT chip is to a Z80.
So you were saying that like they're re-tutorializing these things even though they've explained it over and over. This is kind of the downside of there being a 20-minute gap between fights.
I mean, there are like other fights in between though, which are supposed to be reminding you of the mechanics, but unfortunately then you just get a railing kill and...
They're pretty sparse though. Like they go quickly and you don't get many of them.
I think there's supposed to be at least one or more per area.
It doesn't feel as
That is
consistent
pretty
as
sparse.
it doesn't feel as consistent as it ought to be, which kind of vaguely implies that maybe the path you take determines like whether you get more or less.
Okay, so this thing about CDs is that normal CDs do last a long time, but there's very big differences in quality. So like, if we're talking commercial CDRs, chances are you probably saved a lot of money by getting cheap ones, and they do not last. What's a good long-term storage medium? There isn't one.
Keep copying
Paper.
stuff till the end of time.
Like, just,
Larger and larger hard
Yeah.
drives.
I think for a while, I know Facebook was using a solution where they just like burn Blu-rays like very frequently, and would just be constantly shuffling them out. There's no good solution.
Even flash memory that they thought, well, I mean, it's still better than many of the other ones, but it's now been around long enough that they've been able to sort of clock the bit rot on that too. Yeah.
I keep I've heard a couple times about a new experimental storage medium which is literally etched into glass that is designed to be how's the GitHub data dump doing? GitHub is doing something later this year where they're just going to back up the entire website into a seed bank, like in Norway or something. And I think that might be using the glass etching. But
I heard speculative stuff about doing glass etching, but in 3D, like using holographic glass etching, but I don't know if that ever came to anything.
Okay, I'm fed up.
Okay.
I just failed the button mashing thing for not button mashing fast enough.
never okay. Shoutouts to the problems with the final boss in Indivisible.
He's still fighting.
Man, this usually just goes on forever.
What if we just etch CDs but in stone? Just really big.
Stone, that's possible. Stone wears away.
You can even use like vellum or like calfskin. You just got to put it in a cool, dry cave.
So one of the reasons that vellum has been,
Wow, this fight is kind of hard.
one of the reasons that
Okay,
vellum
it's not just me.
has been a good means of preserving things is that vellum is reusable, which means that whereas like if something were just a book that might get thrown away, but vellum gets reused. That means sometimes you can recover the previously written stuff. There's a text of Archimedes that's a running thing in.
Ah, it still pushed them towards that. That sucks.
Yeah, no, it's...
A running
The
thing. I've
thing,
been-
like, that version, like, is that the way of attacking is less likely to push them, but it's still.
See? You were
Okay.
hammering it.
I was distracted.
Oh, maybe you were hammering the wrong...
No, I was
that is-
hammering the
that's
right
it.
thing. I was just doing it slightly too slowly.
If you research,
I was doing it at the. I've been
Sorry.
doing it at the exact pace you need to because I don't want to expend any more energy than I have to. But unfortunately, I got started a little bit late, so.
if
I
you
feel like if you're gonna do the button mash thing, you should not require significant speed. Like the player gets the
Slip
idea.
past him, sorry.
Yeah.
Whoa, whoops. Jeez, sorry.
Another interesting thing in Alan Wake is, at least with the revolver, you can button mash to reload it more quickly. So I mapped that onto the scroll wheel.
Nice. The old standby.
Yes, hard.
Ada's saying that she remembers doing more guerrilla attacks in this game. They
So,
really
like, the thing
punish
is
you
you
for
do
doing
a-
it at the wrong time.
Oh, yeah, like the problem is you push him into the thing and...
And then
Oh.
he pushes you into the thing.
No,
and-
that was I bounced off him.
Yeah.
That was my fault.
So a thing that like shows up occasionally if you start researching document preservation is that like intentional attempts to preserve documents fail, whereas like documents sometimes instead get preserved because they were being used for something other than an archival. So like for example, almost all pre-Norman English literature has been lost because of an attempt to preserve pre-Norman literature. There was one particular guy in like the 1700s who actually like made a single archive of all of the documents in like Old Middle English. It was amazing, and then it burned it down. So like his attempts to preserve just created a single point of failure. On the other hand, the one document that is like the single codex that is like the bulk of our knowledge of that era survived because it was being used as a cutting board. And of course, no one was going to throw out a good cutting board, but this does mean that the cover is covered in cutting marks, and the end of the document is increasingly damaged by water damage, which is actually great because the end of the book is a poem describing some sort of a ruin, probably the baths at Baths, followed by a couple hundred, like a few dozen pages of riddles. This is actually one of the things that inspired Tolkien. But the problem is that they're riddles where half the text is missing due to the water damage. And then there's this puzzle describing some kind of rune, except as you go through this single poem, the poem itself becomes more and more illegible.
The corruption is inside you. I cannot heal it, only hold it back.
Great. So after all this, I just get to join Aramis.
Reminds me of some book I read where there was, within that book, a book about how to summon dragons, but the last part of it had been burned off.
So you know it works.
Jesus.
So where do we need to go to fend off the corruption? I wasn't.
The fertile ground. We haven't finished the fertile
Okay.
ground.
Oh, I see. So it's basically
Oh,
complete the stuff you've got to do.
Die or, try something.
Is this just a visual effect? Is this going to change anything?
Look at that sick boy run.
Oh yeah. Fine.
remember this? I don't really
The
get much
vines
use
are one
of
of
it.
the things that reminds me of.
Oh, this blows. Whoa!
Oh yeah, right.
Of Rayman. Like there's just certain move things in this and certain ways of like how they've decorated the levels that reminds me of Rayman 2.
That was
In
a
a
creative
weird
use of
way.
a double jump. Like, that
Yeah.
was not something we'd done in this game yet.
Kusi says taboos can work pretty well, like not destroying stuff with the name of God on it. Islam actually has a number of like possibly accidental, very good document preservation practices in there. Also, hadiths are really interesting because they're kind of like a feral citation mechanism.
got it. Totally by accident.
Can you go left?
Certainly can't.
You can't. Whoa, that was
Whoa.
cool.
Lot going on over there.
I feel like in general, this is not a game that wants you to like explore outside the bounds of what it wants you to do.
It really isn't.
Like, it makes it clear what it wants you to do.
Stay here. View's nice.
The view is nice.
Amazing timing on that line.
This game does have good comedic timing. Unintentional comedic timing.
Oh, it's good. They're doing the like
That might have been
the
intentional.
enemy effect on like both him and like where he lands.
That's interesting.
Because he's
I feel
been
like it's
corrupted.
Yeah, I
in
feel
the
like that's a
same
good
way they
visual
are.
effect. Oh fuck! Missed that ring.
Good that they're keeping it in the cutscene. That's not something
Yeah.
I'd always expect. The fact that they keep his corruption in the cutscene when she
Oh.
grabs him.
That's good.
Well, that was a good, like, wait, which way is up? Also, really liking the blue used here to show the run areas.
Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty visually distinct from the last area we were in.
Yeah, no, the
Yeah.
green tint, the lots of wood, when we've mostly been seeing stone.
Got to drag.
Yeah, I'm just.
Nice.
Oh shit! No, no.
Oh, you sharpen your nails?
One to talk, dude with giant metal claw glove.
Womp, womp, womp. This is interesting. They instead of putting they put the fight at the very beginning of the level and then give you this.
They've done that. Oh.
They've done it a few times, but it's usually
This is like an extreme case of it.
yeah. This is a. And the thing about like we're going to give you like a, wow, there is like so much pretty scenery, and we're just like dashing through it.
Yeah, that's good. Don't like waste time.
It's definitely starting to like lean into the stuff this platforming system does well. Like a lot of just
Yeah.
interesting timing stuff and
Yeah.
going up and around things.
Right. The fact that like those things are like so tightly timed is.
Yeah, the climbing on
Will work, right?
the climbing on the underside of things is really ridiculous, but like it's really good in this section because you're just like using every surface of everything.
I feel like the animations in this game are really good. Like, I like them a lot.
Yeah, no, I think it won some award for animation. And that doesn't surprise me, especially given the interactions that they have to do between
Yeah, the
him and
interactions
her.
are definitely really good as well.
If we've got well, that was sudden. Man, this is some like ribbon stuff.
Good balloon shit.
Yeah. I wonder if as you go on, like the corruption effect, like on him, like becomes more, like does anything, or if it's just aesthetic. I feel if like it locked off one of your verbs, it'd be interesting.
Except for
Good to hear
these
the relief in
tumors.
your voice. Here was me thinking it was a certainty. Seems we can change fate after all.
Anyone else want to do one last orb run?
I'll do orb.
6 minutes of orb.
6 minutes of orb.
Brought to you by Orb.
Your choice for orb. Man, I want to like look up a speedrun or something and find out what the other two what the other two powers are.
You could do it like a normal run. I bet that would show even better.
That's actually true.
Yeah, for all we
They
know,
might even use them.
for all we know, the speedrun skips 3 powers.
And I love that animation of them just like
Yeah,
going
no,
by
the
each other.
handoff is real good.
This way has a lot of orb.
Like I feel like when you do animations like that, you're calling a lot of attention to it, so it better be good. Whereas like if your solution is just out, they just clip through each other. That's just like
Oh. Meanwhile, she's just like, I'm gonna run into this wall.
sometimes it doesn't quite work.
She's very comfy right there. Whoa, what the
That
fuck
reminds
was that?
me of. Every once in a while, you hear a roar. I
Oh.
don't know why.
It
Just to
distracted
remind
me
you.
enough that I didn't press a button.
Or staring at the wall reminds me of. I saw a really good GDC talk of.
Oh, that's
oh, yeah,
interesting.
these things.
I can't. Can I jump? I can't jump, can I? Nope.
Pretty sure you-
Double.
I was trying to jump. I didn't do anything to say jump forward. I just pressed jump. I was hoping I could jump up. All right, let's see here. How would I get to that? Oh, I got it.
Jump, double. Yeah.
No.
Huh, that was interesting.
Okay, here's what I think you're
Because she
supposed to do.
flipped the direction on you.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that. Huh.
So they switch places. It works both ways. That's smart.
I definitely really like the multiple colored scars. I feel like it's like a really good
Okay, I was
visually
close.
distinct thing.
I thought that if I double jumped, I'd get up there. It's. Maybe you're supposed to jump from somewhere else. It's really unfortunate because like a lot of these orbs are like solve a puzzle in the like the mechanics, but like it's not the platforming isn't systemic enough for like that kind of logic to work. This is not orb.
You need to be aimed directly at the post, so you could do it from there. You didn't need to double jump. You just need to jump at it, I think.
Oh yeah, right. Like on the cover art, like there's like a big like swirling of one of them and then the other to do the, you know. It's good. I really like it. They're like high contrast colors without like it looking like a lot of the cliches we see with that now.
They didn't go with orange and blue.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty adjacent to that contrast though. It's like it's not the blue, but it's still like.
Yeah.
I think these
And
fights
they're
are
like
getting
the
more
only-
difficult, and my skill is not increasing to match.
You need to grab.
Yeah, you just have.
I'm pressing the grab button. I think I need to finish the I think I need to get off 3 blocks and then it'll let me grab. No, that's not it.
You could try the thing I was trying before, where you
Yeah,
block
the
and
side.
then do the dodge to the side.
Oh no, it's jump to the side, right?
Yeah, jump to the side when you're close enough.
I have not made a single hit on this one yet, and this is like a grunt. It's not doing. Oh, I
Yeah.
did it.
And then you have to get the grab right in, right after,
Yeah.
before it has a chance to reorient.
If I can't get this in 2 more throws, I'm just. What was that? For a moment. Sometimes I can move more quickly than other times. I'm jumping and nothing's happening.
You gotta be
You're running
pushing
it?
sideways while jumping.
I'm nothing. I literally cannot do anything that has any effect on the movement.
Okay. Remember what the buttons are. I really wish they'd just paid to have B, X, etc. for each of the consoles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pushing sideways, I'm holding down block and moving. And then hitting the jump button.
Once
It's
you
not
start,
a
once you
timing-
start blocking, can you do that? Oh, I was really.
Once there's a
Holding
rest.
blocking, right?
Once there's a rest. Yeah, I'm already holding blocking.
I was
You have to be holding
really,
blocking.
I was really hoping that the ink spitting was going to turn out to be a gimmick of that one area.
Nope. That's not how
Yeah,
this
I
game
don't like
works.
it as a.
I noticed you're still not landing a single blow.
I
there.
haven't tried yet. I
Oh.
just was showing that you could do it.
Okay.
The dodge and how you do it.
I see.
It's not like you don't have to like tap to the side. You just hold to the side So you're sidestepping.
You had
And
to already
hits.
be in a sidestepping animation. I got it.
It looks like he may have figured out that trick just as they removed it as one of your options.
Well, it looks like he's in a stun state, like right now.
Yeah.
Occasionally there's some like there's like yellow
He
light
does-
flooding into him. What does that mean?
Use your gauntlet.
Thanks.
That's
It's
him
just-
being in one of his.
That's just part of the animation for the black cloak thing. It's always been there.
Yeah, you basically have to parry this dude to get in there.
Do it.
Yeah. I was trying other things before I tried just parrying.
You got him, that you didn't get the combo.
That time I was able to.
And that's the death animation.
You handle that sword well.
Do I?
Now that we have beaten the final
Now
boss
watch
of
how
the
well
game,
I handle jumping. Did I handle that jump well?
Nailed it.
I'm gonna
Perfect.
declare that guy the final boss of the game, and
Yeah,
it is
we should pack it
11:30.
in.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, y'all. And next
Really
week we
like
will do
cartoony like
That's
pipe
really
layouts
good.
and stuff.
like piping or something.
Yeah, there's something about like the weird ragtag aesthetic of this, and the fact that it's pirates, that reminds me a lot of Rayman. Like pirates and industrial stuff.
And like, there's all these pipes in this here. Are those shoving
let's
out the
save
like the hydrogen or the helium or whatever?
I don't know. I don't know if they thought that far ahead.
Nice.
Honestly, I might like go and finish this game at some point. This is not quite as far as I got the first time around, but like
Sure.
I'm
I'm
curious
having fun.
Where it goes in terms of like what does the final challenges look like in terms of the jumping and such?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the thing is like I stopped the first time around after like 15 hours because I felt like I'd like gotten the gist of
Yeah.
it. Because like there's a certain point where like the stuff that it keeps adding new stuff is not necessarily super interesting. But that said, like it was still like a really fun few hours.
Yeah.
Like I still do like it a lot.
No, it's neat. Like I think I'm not a super fan of the original Prince of Persia, but this tries to adapt things that were unique about it to 3D, I think, very effectively. It's like the fact that it is sort of very like animation cue based.
Yeah.
The sort of one-on-one or one-on-two sword fights. In this case, it's just one-on-one, but
Yeah, I do wish like the combat is definitely the thing that feels the most like needs way more time in the oven to me.
yeah, like it's. I'm curious.
They have a good idea. Like I like the one-on-one aspect, but not.
I'm curious what it would have felt like if those the quick times were just giving us letters, like clear, simple letters.
I wonder if it did that on Xbox.
These are the Xbox buttons.
Yeah.
No.
You can tell because they're colored like Xbox buttons.
But
Yeah, like I really
there's
would
just,
have
like,
loved to
little
see a
things
game that
that just-
iterates on this.
oh yeah, no, it would have been really interesting to see like them do the same thing they did with Sands of Time, where they like did 3 different takes on the basic idea.
Like I feel like it's really incredible. Like this is like their first attempt at a lot of these things in 3D, and like if there'd just been more time in the oven, more time to iterate, more, building off the stuff that works and the stuff that doesn't.
Also, like a full AAA budget, you can definitely see where they've cut corners in this.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I feel like
I think that like what that would probably get you is less of a structure, like that spoke structure, something that is a bit more non-linear. No, not non-linear, but like not so symmetrical in its structure.
yeah.
Something where they could throw in some flashy set pieces, more variety of enemy just in terms of how they look. Like the part of where you can see the budget isn't in this is the fact that a lot of the areas look very samey. A lot of the enemies look very samey.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reuse of stuff. It's not. It's
I do feel like they
smartly
put them
done
into the right
reuse.
places.
Yeah, it's smartly done reuse, but like, kind of when I'm playing a big flashy AAA game, it's like give me all of the like.
It's
all
also
the
a little bit
visual
funny because
variety.
I feel like
The
also like
budget is- the
this could
budget
have
is
half
going
as
into
many
the-
environments if
Yeah.
like, because it is like it's just a very long game, and I don't think it necessarily
Yeah.
needs to be.
So both the budget and most of the variety is going into these big sweeping vistas that you literally never look at because you're on a wall and the camera is pointed directly at the wall with you hanging off of it.
Yeah, more wall
think
varieties,
that's-
less vista varieties.
Yeah. But also they can't, because of the idiom they've chosen, they literally can't create wall varieties because they've done a thing where they mapped an entire button to a ring hanging on the wall for no reason.
But no, they can. Like the fact that suddenly we're like, oh, we're not running on stone, we're running on wood,
Yep.
was a like visual difference. It felt meaningful. But the fact that we've seen like 2 or 3 types of wall in a game where you're mostly looking at walls.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. We haven't figured out what we're gonna play next week, but
Yeah, we've got some ideas.
We got some ideas. We're gonna do some tests, see if we can run our technology. And please join me Thursday for my Fall Sea road trip, playing Final Fantasy 13 and showing off some development footage of getting the car loser. Yeah, see.
Oh,
Sorry.
I wanna
Mind
just
blank.
note
Yeah.
one really more small thing. Vanilla Flexian says, I'm still the most impressed by the textures, and the textures are really, really incredible, and I really wonder if the textures are running at the same resolution that they would have at the time this game was actually released.
Yeah, I am curious what it looked like running on like a PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I may own it. I'll see if it was on PS Plus.
Nice.
Anyway, thank you for joining us. Good night.